Okay, we should be live. If you don't see camera, that's okay. It's because I've chosen to not show camera yet. What I do need to do is I need to jump into having chat in there though. So give me a second while I capture the chat screen. To do so, it's always annoying. If someone knows more about OBS than I do, is there a way to take the chat within OBS to have it live in the side pocket while it is the proprietary OBS chat window rather than having to go to my channel, find my live stream, then pop out my chat, then capture that window. If there is a way to do such a thing, let me know. Pop out chat. Okay. Then I always have to shrink the chat window because it comes in like way too big. Goofy, right? So goofy. Anyway, mostly doing it today because I just found out no work for the next 2 days, which I don't want to say that's amazing. I'm so happy I got off because it's because of a hurricane, and there will be people affected by the hurricane. There most likely will be people affected by that. Hey, Miguel, um, there probably will be people affected by the hurricane coming, so it's not something I want to celebrate because it could involve tragedy, loss of homes, maybe even, loss of life, which I hope does not happen. But I am very thankful for the fact that I'm in a position where I do get to have time off. At the same time, I hope nothing happens because of my time off. All right, Miguel. Hey, Maya. Let me get you guys into. I'm about to capture the chat window. Let me get in there and do that real quick. Oh, and my cat decided to join us too. All right. Sorry, right now I got camera off. I'm eating and I'm drinking. I'm just drinking regular soda though. It's not. But I don't like to be captured while I'm eating. Well, I do. I don't really care too much, but for now I've just started, so I want to slip, slurp, chomp, and chew at the beginning. Okay. Chat capture properties. Hey, Shripe. What's up? All right, hold on. Let me pop up host. No, not that. Just chatting. Nope. Chat pop out. That's what we want to get. Okay. About out there's real good. That's about good. I'm gonna show up in just a second though. Let me just finish this up real quick and pull my food over here. I haven't even started to take a bite. You guys don't really mind if I eat on camera, right? Um, it's dinner time here where I'm at. What's up, guys? Hey, thanks for joining tonight. I did this mostly because, like I said, number one, I've got the next 2 days off. I just found that out like literally hours ago. And I also just wanted to do a stream for those of you who can't join on Friday nights or Saturday nights. I feel like that's unfair if I only stream on those days. What's up, Ricardo Contreras? Maya, I've been watching your channel for 12 years, since 2012. I'm so glad you're making videos again. Osoroshi Saturdays was something I always look forward to every week. Maya, you should come join when we're doing the live shows where we like play horror and watch horror movies. We're doing it because I'm actually recording it for footage of Osoroshi coming out next week, guys. It's next week it comes out. That's the first week in October. It's a stupid German name for bread. Oh, okay. Let's see. So it would be Screep Screepe? Is that the Screepe? You can phonetically correct me, whatever it is. Anyway, let's start the camera up. Where is my camera button? I know I've got a camera button somewhere. There it is. I found it. Today, doing something a little bit different. I'm actually eating Taco Bell. I almost never eat fast food. But my son is, since moving to America, his favorite all-time fast food is Taco Bell. Of all the different fast food out there, Taco Bell pleases him the most. He is very excited when he gets to eat Taco Bell. Sorry. The good thing, it's soft tacos, so you shouldn't hear too much on your end. If you're wondering what sauce I choose, always Diablo, and Diablo really isn't even hot enough for me. I add my own sauce too. I add this like straight green chile habanero sauce because even Diablo sauce isn't hot enough for me. I wish I had some death sauce, but I haven't found a place close to me yet that sells it. Um, but I will eventually get it, I promise. All right, this is cool. We already got some people joining. I wasn't sure if we'd have anybody on a, what is it? It's a Tuesday night. But that's cool. Oh, and by the way, Maya, I'm like completely flattered that you've been watching me since 2012. When I hear people tell me about this, I always mention this when I'm having live streams. Like, that is the biggest reward ever for having had a channel around. When you find out there's people who've been around with the channel that long, it's like flattering. It's amazing. I've had people tell me about growing up with me from middle school all the way to like starting a family, and that's like mind blowing to me. That and sometimes they even say like they watch my show with their family, and I'm glad I can be that for somebody, that I'm someone who's been there for that long and that they've stuck with me for that long. That's all right. Bryce, what's up? Ever been to Womb? Best club I've ever been to. Is that in Osaka? That sounds like really familiar. I'm pretty sure I've been to Womb. I know how many people commented, but please let us know how you haven't aged a bit in so many years. I mean, you guys aren't the only ones to tell me that. The one thing that like nobody at where I work believes me when I tell them I'm 45 years old. My secret, what I've learned after all these years on planet Earth, is it's really about what you eat. That's all I can say. It's what you eat. And that's, I mean, Japan kind of like shocked my body with having to finally change over to like healthy stuff. It showed me that you can eat until you're really full. You can eat a bunch, but if you keep it mostly clean stuff, non-processed, from the earth type food, not like put through a factory type food, it makes a big difference on your body, your skin, your face, etc. And that's why today I'm eating Taco Bell, because that keeps me young. No, I will say, okay, number one, stay like super active. Like, if you can work a job where you're always up walking around and moving, I think that probably helps you stay looking young. Number two, and this is probably something that's only genetic based, is I don't grow a beard. Like, I can't grow a beard. Like, I have no facial hair here at all. Like, that's why when you see me grow something, it's like this little dirt stash. Um, and I feel like, and people can tell me I'm wrong if they want to, but since guys have like a permanent 5 o'clock shadow most times, it'll fill in like all the wrinkles that start to slowly form on your face. And I don't even have the stubble to shave. So I think that like takes away a certain amount of like shading to my actual wrinkles, because I do have them. I got crow's feet, I got like smile lines and everything, but they're just not as noticeable because my skin is pale, because I can't grow a beard. And then the other thing is just my calorie intake. I don't eat much. I stick to about 1,500 calories a day for a guy who's 5'11" and 3/4. And that has really helped me stay feeling and looking kind of young. That made a huge difference over time. And of course, stay hydrated, dude. That's like super important. Stay hydrated. Stay away from sugary drinks, stay away from soda, and eat Taco Bell like I am right now. Really, Taco Bell is the fountain of youth. Womb is in Tokyo? Man, I could have sworn. Is it a chain? Because I could swear there's a Womb Club out in Osaka, and it's actually a pretty sick. Is that one in Tokyo? Does it play what do you call the kind of music? Why am I suddenly forgetting this? Well, really fast, like electronic music. How is life going? Life is good, man. William Shell, thank you for joining again. Dubman back again. Evil Dead Rise. Hell yeah, watch that movie. Was sick as hell, dude. I would say what did that came out in 2023 or wasn't it? It was 2023 or 2024? Evil Dead Rise and Talk to Me. Most brutal horror movies I watched that year, man. I watched another one. Um what's that series called? Um Insidious, Red Door. Literally fell asleep trying to watch that movie. It was so damn bad. But dude, Talk to Me and Evil Dead Rise, holy hell, man. Both of those were just like brutal, hardcore. Like, if you want some splatterpunk type horror to watch both of those, man. Holy hell. Yes, EDM. That's what I was trying to say. Dude, the womb that's in Osaka too. It's like this underground, like you literally like walk underground in like a basement area, and it's EDM too. Maybe they're, I don't know if it's like a chain or like maybe they opened one in each place. The words are written in like silver lettering, and like they're on like I think like their colors that they pick for the club are kind of like a really really dark purple, like mixed with like silver. Yeah, Talk to Me was holy hell, man. That's Raka Raka too. That's like YouTubers who made that movie. They went from making silly like beating up Ronald McDonald videos to like I mean one of the highest quality, best story horror movies I've watched in a long time. It was sick, man. Hey man, I've been enjoying your takes on life in Japan. I feel like you have a great balanced perspective on life here. I'm currently in Tochigi now. Whoa, cool, dude. Can I ask what you do in Tochigi? Nice. I've been wanting to. Okay, and one other movie. I don't know. This is like maybe people might or might not enjoy this. I think it really depends on your viewpoint. But I saw the TV Glow. It wasn't super scary, but it was definitely something new. Um, I was a little bit wary of it because it was made by the same director who made We're All Going to the World's Fair, which honestly I didn't really. That movie was kind of so-so, but I saw the TV Glow. Check it out. That was pretty decent. There's a couple I actually want to watch. I've written it down. I want to watch Coffee Table. I heard Coffee Table is like one of the sickest horror movies of this year, and there's another one called oh god, it's Serial something. Hold on, give me a second. Let me check it. Um, horror movies. Cereal and Milk. I heard, cereal spelled like serial killer and milk. Coffee Table. Another one I wanted to watch is called It Doesn't Get Any Better Than This. Another one's called Cuckoo. Another one's called Latency. Another one's called Dancing Village. And another one's called Apartment 7A. These are all like kind of small indie horrors. And I want to watch these. Apparently, they're supposed to be the sickest ones. I live in Toshigi, but I work at a uni in Tokyo. Nice, Daniel. You sound like you got the setup, man. Congrats on that, dude. Yeah, and thanks for telling me I have a balance. I hope I'm always balanced with what I talk about with Japan. You know, my biggest thing is that um, once I moved here, I got questions that I always thought like some are like they don't have any clue of what they're getting themselves into, or number two, like their idea of Japan is like so wacky that I'm like, okay, we gotta get this myth taken care of. So that's what I've always hoped to do with my channel. I've been wanting to go back to Japan slash Osaka. Well, I missed it. We have been wanting to go back to Japan and Osaka ever since. I love those little bars all over Osaka. There was this neat little bar where the 50-year-old bartender would just break out their what? Break out their what? Guitars. Oh, and do blue covers. Okay. I was like, wait, that's pretty sick. I like horror, but my problem is most of what I like is really just dark Dude, I love dark fantasy stuff, man. My favorite all-time games are like the FromSoft games. because the only stuff that actually scares me is such brutal torture that I can't actually say I enjoy it. I guess when I was younger, I used to like more of those type of movies. These days, I want psychological scares. I want like existential crisis scares. And there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong? Your mouse is messing up? Okay, go over to the cabinet over there. Sorry, my son's mouse is about to die, so he needs a new battery for it. All right, where my all my setup are, there's toys and everything. No, 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 where the toys are. Where the toys are. Not that. Next drawer. Next drawer. Yes. Pull it open. There's a Duracell in there. You see him? Yep. Okay. Hey, hey, hey. Push it down so it closes proper. Thank you. Hello, I'm a new viewer. I'm a comic maker and Japanese language learner. Sick, Timothy. All right, a fellow sequential artist, our fancy name for comic book drawing. That was my focus back in art school. I also focused on illustration and sequential art. Do you have any kind of online portfolio or anything, Timothy? I'll prop it up here on the channel. I'll give it a shout out. I think nothing can beat the JVlog era of 2011, 2015. Yeah, I always say like 2010, 2011 was like the golden age. I can't get into newer J videos. Oh, well, it's gone so fast. Wow. Really enjoy the recent videos. Yeah, I got to do more about that era because that's such a good time. It's not as cool as it sounds. And no job is ever as cool as it sounds. So I get you, Daniel. I understand, bro. Was this the old one? Just toss it out. Throw it away. Are you going to make any more building vids? Building vids? You mean like world creation vids, like my RPG stuff? Is that what you're talking about? You think I can start American BBQ joint in Japan and be successful? I would say do research on the area that you're going to open it in. I think you could be successful with it, but I would definitely research what area you're opening it. But I'm going to be perfectly frank with you. In Osaka, at least, I know 60% of bars and restaurants fail within the first 6 months. Just a try slamming it. That's what my mom does. Slam the mouse down. Okay, I'll tell my son to try that technique. What do you think about the Assassin's Creed? Hans? Did you just see the video I just posted today? You need to see the video I just posted today that talks about my thoughts. I'm not happy. Especially after, did you hear about what they put out today? That they put out a figure that has the broken Torii Gate from Nagasaki that is like a symbolism. It's symbolism for like surviving the atomic bomb, and they just use that as part of the Yasuke toy that they're about to try and sell on the market. That I don't think Ubisoft could be any more culturally unaware. A bunch of white guys telling us what to think about Japanese history. Isn't that sick? I mean, like, look, I'm not like one of these people who's like, woke agenda's gotta go. It sucks, man. Like, but at least do a little bit of research on what you're going. Like they did it for every other game. I don't know why when they chose Japan they decided, nah, let's not show real samurai. Let's use a guy who was never listed, labeled, or historically recorded as a samurai and use him to represent all these noble warriors when there's like thousands to choose from. I really only like plausible horror movies. Japan and himself. I totally understand your feel. I'm the same way. Like if it gets too goofy, I can't take it. What's up, Scott? Hey, McJangles. I like the right one in the menu. The Suspiria remake. Suspiria remake was pretty good. Tigers Are Not Afraid. Well, you're like, I think it's me and you are the only two people who've seen that movie. That movie was great. Holy crap, was that a hardcore dark movie? That was a good psychological scare. Deathgasm. I watched Deathgasm too. That was pretty funny stuff. Yeah, the RPG stuff. William, man, I wish I could do more about it. Those videos bombed like it did horrible. They're a lot of work too. I edited the hell out of those, so it was just like a lot of work for nobody. I don't know. One thing I am thinking of doing is for members and stuff of the channel, like just giving them some free assets and stuff that I create. just uploading them and letting them like, print them out, cut it out. Like I've got like minis and stuff like paper minis and all that kind of stuff, like different game boards, my own set of rules and everything. I'd love to just, I don't know, maybe I'll probably release all that stuff online for free. What kind of music are you into mainly? I felt like you were maybe, yeah, I mean, I like deathcore, but I'm very picky on my deathcore. My favorite all times are like Born of Osiris. Excuse me. Recently, hold on. Let me just grab my phone and tell you what music I'm into. I got like a whole playlist of my favorite stuff. Give me a second here. Hold on. Come on, let me switch the account. I've got a separate account just to get all my music together. What? Oh, yeah, of course. All right, give me just a second here. Almost there. All right. This is my list, but I also suggest you check out some of these that I'm talking about. It's weird. It's like woke political stuff is taking over gaming. So what is Ubisoft used this broken Tory Gate as a symbol in their new toy that they're releasing for the game. That is a symbol of people who survived the atomic bomb in Nagasaki. That's what that's for. So first of all, historically, doesn't make any sense. Yasuke takes place in about like 1500s about in Japan. That's a World War II symbol, and it's a symbol to not just a religious symbol that's connected to Shintoism, but also connected to commemorating the survivors and those who died in the Nagasaki bombing. It doesn't have any place in like gaming or toys. We don't add the Twin Towers to Spider-Man since he's in like New York, right? Like, why would we add a Nagasaki's most commemorative image of horrible death, the most tragic event ever in that prefecture's history? Like, Let the Right One In. That was okay. I don't know. Like, I watched both versions too, the American version and the original. What is it, Swedish? Or is it Norwegian? I'm not sure. ESG and DIF funding is why they picked Yasuke. So ridiculous. Leave it to a bunch of clueless white dudes to choose, something just to be DEI. Like, I'm like not totally against DEI stuff. There's actually aspects of it that are for the environment and like taking care of the environment. And I'm totally for that kind of stuff. But, it's okay too if like they choose, I don't care, LGBTQ plus, any race at all. I don't care about that, what the character's race or anything. But have a good story first before you worry about any of that. That's my big thing. You love my RPG vids? Thank you, though, man. Giluka, great VK. Giluka. Okay, hold on. I'm writing this down. Okay. So Yaosobi, that's a band I listen to. You've probably heard their stuff. They're pretty popular. 100 gecs, I like them. Scarlip, who is like a female rapper who I think is just really sick. Ram, which is a Russian rap group. Tommy Cash, I'm a fan of that. What else? I still listen to some A Day to Remember. One band I'm a massive fan of, Ice Speak. Have you heard of this? It's like a Russian, I don't know what kind of music you would call them, like gothic rap death. I don't know what genre they are. Bryce, I like Converge. You know what my only complaint about Converge is? Why don't they mix the lead vocals louder? That's the only problem I have with Converge. Kim Dracula. Check out Bring Me the Horizon did a concert with Baby Metal. It was really good. Enter Shikari. That's another band I like. What else do we got here? Darko US. Probably people not so happy with that one. I Prevail. Hall of the Elders. Inaria. What else? Oh, I know people aren't going to be happy about this one. I like the new Falling in Reverse stuff, especially Ronald. That sorry, I don't care what people say. I like that song is good. Ghostmane, of course, I like him. Coi Leray, Electric Callboy, who used to be called Electric. No, they used to be called Eskimo Callboy, but now they're called Electric Callboy. That's some of the like deathcore type stuff I like. They're really good. One Japanese deathcore band I'd like to recommend is Hanabi. It's spelled Hanabie. Hanabi. Hold on. Which literally I think it means like fireworks is what they're Hanabi. Check this one out. Tommy Cash, hell yeah, man. I love Tommy Cash. Do you like his Hero Is Gone? Yeah. Yeah, there's some of his older stuff I'm not as big of a fan of, especially the stuff that gets like kind of goofy. Like his intro song for the new album, like that's kind of a goofy song. Try Hana. Oh, dude, you just said Hanabi. Dude, that's crazy, man. Alpha Omega, you got good taste, man. Dude, that's so funny. I'm typing it in and talking about it, then I look at the comments and you've already said it. Dude, yeah, Hanabi. Um, Hold on. If you like Hanabi, there's another one you'll really like. If I can find it. It's called something like Taken by the Scream or something. God dang it, what's their name? Gosh dang it. Oh, have you listened to Sim? That's another good Japanese. I don't know if I'd call them deathcore. They're kind of a mix between like maybe like hardcore punk. Bad Omens, I like them. Ashniko. Some of the new poppy stuff is kind of crazy good. I'm kind of shocked that she went like kind of metal. One band, this is like my kind of guilty pleasure. I'm Sad Alex. It's this girl who just makes the songs that her stuff's like really. Check out I'm Sad Alex, Jekyll and Hyde. It's such a good song. Also, if you haven't heard Kim Dracula and you're a deathcore fan, you need to check out Kim Dracula. Architects, the new Architects Seeing Red song is so good. Spirit Box. Let's see. Oh, Broken by the Scream. There we are. If you like Hanabi, dude, check out Broken by the Scream. You will love it. What else? What's another good one that I'm really Tessa Violet. I used to like the Antword, but like new the Antword is not very good. I don't know what's going on with their. I mean, it happens, whatever. Like, you know what used to be my all-time favorite band that I like listened to and would go to their concerts religiously was AFI. But like new AFI, I just can't get into. I Prevail's good, yeah, dude, it's good. Wednesday Campanella, that's a good one. What else? Royal and the Serpent. Norman Sand, that's one of my favorite rappers. I like that one Irish singer. What's her? Amy Cardi. Amy Cardi. I think I've said that right. Yeah, there we go. That's my recommendations, man. New AFI is kind of yeah. I mean, like I get it. I understand why Davey Havoc had to take the band in that direction. It probably sells better. You know, I think they're probably sick of being starving tour boys and want to finally make some cash, which I don't ever blame a band for selling out. I mean, how many years are you going to do something where like you know, dedicate your sound to something that never sells? Like you can do that for a while, but I know eventually you just want to like be like, "Oh, I want to be able to retire one day. I need to make money." My all-time favorite deathcore band did that. Atreyu. God, their stuff is horrible now. The worst. That was too big of a betrayal. I never could go back to listening to them anymore. If you like just straight great rock and roll, check. Oh, Bandmate. I watch Band. I love Bandmate. They're great. They're great. I know they're not like hardcore stuff. They're kind of like, you're right, classic rock and roll and stuff. But Bandmate is good, man. There is a ton of talented Japanese. There's stuff that is just like um I feel like it's just a shame it doesn't get shown more or listened to more. I mean, I get it. Some people like they don't want to connect with it because it's not in their language. But just like, okay, who's the guy who does the OST for Magic Muscle? Magic Muscle intro song. Oh man, that guy. Have you heard? Like, I thought that was like three or four different people singing that song, but it's one guy in front of a mic, constantly changing his rhythm, speed, voice, vocals, everything, and he does the whole song by himself. The only other guy is like a dude on like synth or keyboard or something. That guy's incredibly talented. Yeah, moderate thinker. As I get older, I'm not as into like the hardest hard stuff. I got to really be in the right mood to listen to it. Um, Shimo Kitazawa. Okay, I'll keep that one in mind too. My favorite recent metal discovery is Worm Witch. Worm Witch. All right, hold on. I got to start to write all these down. Bands. Worm. Even that name sounds sick. Worm Witch. That's such a good name. What was the other one? G-Call or something like that? Shoot, I gotta find that now. G-Call. What was the band? Someone just recommended me that started with a J. All right, and what is it? Shimo Kitazawa. Shimo Kitazawa. All right. I'm always desperate for new music because I work so much. Like I work a crazy amount, like probably 53 to 60 hours a week. I love what I do, so I'm not complaining, but I just don't have a lot of free time like I used to when I was younger to just check out a bunch of music. Ah, Jir Jiruka. Okay. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. That's where indie bands play. Oh, okay. Awesome, dude. Another good one was you should check this one out, guys. It's half Japanese and then half members. Like I think it's kind of international. Yeah, Yaosobi was the first one I said when I started naming everything I was into. Cold Winds. Yeah, dude. Yaosobi, that girl. Holy cow, man! Can she like mix it up, dude? She's rapping. She's like singing. She's all over. Like I mean, every every intro song they make is just like a banger, dude. It just slaps everything they make. What an incredible band, Yalsobi. Don't worry, I'm almost done eating, guys. You won't have to listen to me crunch and munch anymore. No, it's okay. Cold Winds, it's totally okay. I'm just glad to hear you also have great taste in music, Cold Winds. Don't worry. If you missed it, don't worry. Not a big deal. And Swamp Lord. No matter what genre, Japanese musicians are always incredible talented with their instrument. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's one thing you got to understand when it comes to Japanese and an instrument, or Japanese in a hobby. They go hardcore. Like there would be kids who were like, I'm part of a band at like a high school or middle school I would teach. And I'd be like, oh, really? Like, how often do you like practice and stuff? They'd be like, well, after school finishes, I stay up till 1 a.m. with the band practicing. And they're just practice guitar, drums, or whatever it is, like religiously every day for like 8 to 12 hours, even after they've finished a full day of school. Like when they get into something, they go hardcore, like they dedicate themselves to it. It's one thing I highly respect about the Japanese. Okay. All right. You know what? Alpha Omega, I'm just going to take a picture of that so I can get it all. All right, excellent. Dude, I just sent you some of my stuff in your Twitter DMs. Okay, oh, you just sent it in? I'm gonna look now, dude. Hold on. Sorry, I didn't know what you were talking about. I only know it as X. I'm just joking. I'll never ever understand changing the name to X. Everybody still calls it Twitter. You know, I'm not hating on Elon. I'm actually kind of neutral as far as Elon is concerned, but yeah, okay, I gotta accept. Okay, I just accepted you so that your stuff's coming through. Streets of Galsha. I even like the name already, dude. All right, you got a stylized look here, bud. Dang, dude. Okay, hold on. Comic archive. Yo, I like this. This has got like a real, like kind of retro 1950s look. Next. What do you do? What do you do this in, Timothy? This almost looks like it's like you hand draw it and then upload it, like scan it in. What is this? It almost looks like, I want to say like watercolor or, but I don't know. No, the blacks are too rich for it to be watercolor. Is it a mixture? Is it mixed media? Like maybe you upload it to like a digital editing software or something. Have you ever heard of Fall from Ephrafa? Let me do Habak. That's right. You were talking about Habak. Okay, I gotta make notes of this. I have not heard of that band, but I am now writing them down on this list. Habak. No, I hate when autocorrect changes stuff that you're trying to type in. Uh, oh, of Ephrafa. All right. The first 10 pages were colored with watercolor and then color corrected. Yeah, because I was noticing, like, I was like, these blacks are too rich. So he definitely mixes it with something. Nice watercolor. I'm a huge fan of watercolor, dude. That's awesome, man. This is great, though. You've been doing this, like, I mean, I got to give you a shout out here, guys. You got to go check it out. Is it okay if I, like, give everybody the link, Timothy? Is that all right? Like, I mean, you've been dedicated to this for how many episodes, man? This is sick. 49? Streets of Galsha. Okay. Dang, dude. Okay, so then you eventually started to switch media. I got you. I'm gonna read through all these, dude. After I get offline and stuff and have some time to kill, I got the next 2 days off, so I'll give this a read, man. I really respect the dedication, dude. I don't think people understand how hard it is to come up with a story, put that story into picture, and then commit to that story and keep going. Okay, it's cool. All right, guys, give Timothy a look, man. Here we go. Make sure I spell it totally right. Streets of Galsha. I hope I'm saying it right. .com. There we go. Guys, go check it out. Give it a look. Just go give it a view just so it helps out with any sort of algorithm that rotates around web comics. That's awesome. Timothy, do you do any YouTube or anything to like shout it out? You should make a video about like your technique and like your lore and everything like that. That's what I want to really learn. Just looking at this, I want to just dive headfirst into the lore. This looks like it's a really layered sort of. What could I combine it with? What is it making me like? Some part of it is like really triggering like a memory, like what do they call those memory berries? It makes me think of kind of like early Steve Jackson RPGs like GURPS or Riffs, even sort of a interdimensional TMNT RPG. Do you still follow Ryan Boundless? Man, this guy comes up a lot in live streams. I don't follow him as much, but I am always getting informed of his current situation and that he's living in his car in Miami. Um, and I'll stick to the same thing I always say about Ryan Boundless. If I ever happen to run into him, I will do an on the spot interview if he's down with it. You've been on a long hiatus. Don't worry, man. I totally get it. You can get burned out on drawing anything, anything. Yeah, dude, don't give it up, man. Keep going, Timothy, dude. This is sick. 49 pages, dude. Like I understand how hard that kind of dedication is when covering like a series that you keep going for a really long time. Like I know you get burnt out on the characters, you get burnt out on the story, the style, the display, everything, uploading, probably even taking the time to do all the work to get it up on screen. Just whenever you feel ready again, man, pick up that whatever you use, pencil or whatever, pick it up and get back at it, man. This is sick, dude. It'll pay off. If nothing else, you'll have an amazing portfolio to show off to somebody one day. Oh, yeah. Jonah, that's why I'm off. That's why I'm off for the next 2 days. You're right. Like I'm in the path of this. The good news is we're only supposed to get the very edge of it, and I'm in flood zone X, which means I'm at the highest point that I can be as far as Florida is concerned. So I probably won't have to deal with any flooding. I went on my way when I purchased my house to check out floodplains and everything, because my God, I can only imagine the tragedy of losing your place to a flood. Hold on. I gotta stop the stream to answer this question live. Martin, for you too. Dear Unrested, is it easier to start a career as an manga, sorry, I got food in my mouth, artist than a traditional SFW manga artist? Hmm. I would say SFW is probably easier. Um, Euro manga, erotic manga, if you guys don't know. I think that's like a pretty. You start to get into like niche markets, especially if it deals with kink or anything like that. I wouldn't tell anybody to avoid it or anything like that. I think like if that's your passion, dude, go for it. Um, but I just think like safe for work. You got to think of if you're talking about the Japanese market, think about the fact that people read a lot of manga while they're on the go. They're on the train, they're on the bus, they're walking down the street. Yes, they will literally read manga walking down the street. And if it's safe for work, like they're not going to be stared at. Like if someone sees the back of what they're looking at, they're not going to be stared at and like ridiculed. Um, one of the things people never think about is on the train, if you're reading some kind of Euro manga, almost always what you're reading is reflected on the windows because you're going through a tunnel. So like the reflection is, and people, I don't know if they never take that into consideration, but everyone on the train is kind of like, oh, what is this guy reading? Oh my God. So I would say, safe for work unless Euro manga is really your passion, because I'd really say more than anything, follow your passion when it comes to creating a long-term manga series. Yellow there, Scott. Hello there, Split Fries Media. Do you remember your Yakuza story, the one where one of the yeah. That was a good memory making that comic. I had Dayu Chen who did the voices for the Japanese people. I had a super long time at work to draw it a little bit every day. I drew that using a mouse, if you can believe it, because it was before people had access to tablets and iPencils and stuff like that. I drew that with a mouse. The easy elevator pitch for Streets of Gausha is it's a high fantasy meets Dick Tracy. Cool, man. At least that is unique. At least that is something fresh. That's awesome. I'm definitely, when I get offline and I have time, I'm reading through all 49 episodes. No doubt. Normalize reading your own public out loud. I think out loud might be, I'd say it's okay if you're reading it in public. Like, I don't want to, like, I've read my fair share of them. I'm not going to lie and say, like, no, I'm a Puritan and I refuse to. No, man, it's okay. Like, I see nothing against it. But I don't think reading it out loud would be. You got little kids everywhere in Japan. Don't do that. Thoughts on Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit? Well, guess what? I went to high school with Sam, the bassist. Him and I were in the same music appreciation class, so I kind of have Um, I'm kind of partial to Limp Bizkit. Their first album, $3 Bill, y'all, is by far my favorite. It will always be my favorite. When they got the cookie stuff, give me the cookie. I want the cookie nookie. I kind of was like, oh no, what is going on? I will say though, Fred Durst kind of his acting stuff he's done, hats off to that. Well, I guess not hats off because then he couldn't cover up his bald spot. But I mean, some of that. But then he's got this new thing called like the Losers Club or something like that, where he's getting all these like kind of really crappy bands together, like Corey Feldman's band, which is total dog water. Um, I'm not such a big fan of that. Uh, hey, let me recommend a horror manga to all of you who are Osidoshi fans. Starving Anonymous. I just finished reading that whole series. Um, how do you spell anonymous? Starving Anonymous. Check that one out. That one's pretty sick. Tom from Rage says record labels wanted to find a Rage without the politics who would play the label game and put out more records, so they found Limp Bizkit. That makes sense. I mean, I really like their first album. I mean, I listened to that thing over and over and over again. You know, they're talented. I'm not gonna like deny that. I just wasn't as big into like um some of their later stuff. Just I don't know, when stuff starts to get like overproduced, I start to like lose interest in stuff. It's all right. I mean, some of their original stuff that was kind of almost on the border of like hardcore and like rapcore and stuff like that. I love that. Are you going to watch Joker 2? I'm very intrigued by it. Yeah, maybe I will. I know there's stuff coming back right now where people are kind of like, it sucks. I'm kind of intrigued due to the fact that it's supposed to be a musical. You know, I'm not a like Lady Gaga hater or anything like that. I've seen her in movies and she can act. She's okay. I don't know. Joaquin Phoenix singing? Didn't he have a music about trying to be like a fake rapper and that was pretty bad. So I don't know. I just watched you uploaded a video on Ubisoft regarding the bombing. Do you remember that place you visited in Japan where there was a province with people? Oh, yeah. That one was heavy. Honestly, Richard, the heaviest place, and I don't think I'll ever find a place that hit me heavier than this, there was a place I went to in Okinawa that was an underground cave that had been dug out to be a makeshift hospital for people wounded during World War II, when Americans first hit um, the island of Okinawa. And it's literally just dirt. Like it's like carved out dirt made into a hospital. And when I went in there, there was this presence. There was just like this dread that lingered in the air. And I got one of the worst migraines ever during the time that I was visiting it. And, my wife and I, we had to stop on the way back so I could get some migraine medicine. And she's like, you know why you got a migraine, right? And I was like, no, what do you mean? She's like, that's how heavy that place is. Like, that's how dark, like, the residual haunting is in a place like that. You are like literally being affected by the tragedy there. And I'll never forget that. And I thought like, wow, that's what I was feeling all that time. And, I'm not like a big believer, even though I cover paranormal stuff and things like that. I am a skeptic for the most part. But that was the first time somebody said something to me about like being affected by residual haunting or paranormal. And I felt like, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. A Minecraft style hospital, honestly, that's a pretty good analogy. That's a pretty good. It did look like that. It looked like someone had taken out square chunks of dirt, and it was just like, yeah, we could fit like a futon here. You're like laying in underneath the dirt, next to dirt walls on a dirty futon, and that's your hospital while everybody's being shot and blown up in Okinawa. I mean, holy cow. Soulfly, wow, that's a callback. Gallhammer are legit amazing. The best crust, black metal, and doom. It's three Japanese women. I'll have to give that a listen. That sounds wild. All right. Sigurd for sure. All his bands. I even like recent recordings of Sepultura. I can never remember how to pronounce that band. Sepultura is kind of like happy metal for me. It always makes me like really happy to listen to that. Do you think with the comic and manga industry going digital, people will lose their ability to draw out? No, absolutely not. I do feel like my only thoughts about digital, like I use Procreate. I use, programs all the time to do digital stuff. I always feel guilty because I feel like I'm cheating. Like I'm cheating to create art. It is just so easy, so fast. Um, it just feels like you're doing art with a cheat code. I don't know how else to explain it. So part of me like gets disheartened by that. But I think to use those properly to really, really, what happened? Mom called you? Oh, okay. Go ahead and answer. I feel like to really use those fully, to like fully understand how to use those, um, it it still takes a certain art ability. I feel like though the good thing about that is like it could open it up to more people in general. Like it could open up the art world or people who felt like they couldn't draw in the past, like they could finally get their stories drawn and made up. So, I mean, that's the good thing I see about digital art. Like, it can open the doorway to people who are like, oh, I'm not so good at art, but I really have this great story. And if those two things come together and allow people to do that, I'm all for it. AI art, on the other hand, the only thing I don't like about, like, I totally am okay with people creating AI art, like, with people using it to make wacky stuff, because I think it does have some good uses. But my main problem with AI art is when it is stealing to make that art. Like, for example, with Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop, you have to sign over anything you draw or create to be added to the volumes of art that they can now use to make AI art. So you're just like allowing them to steal your stuff to add to their AI algorithms. And I think that's disgusting. Like I have sworn off anything Adobe for the rest of my life. I'll never go back to Adobe. What's going to be the next hit manga? What's going to be the next hit manga? Honestly, I don't watch the market close enough to know. I really don't know. I know they're turning Uzumaki into like a new movie again. Like they've already done a live action Uzumaki from Junji Ito, but I think it's probably already out, but it's like an illustrated version of the movie from the manga. Um, Let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody because I think I'm going fast. Sigurd, welcome. Caleb, welcome. I didn't say hi to you yet. Okay, I did read your comments, but I didn't say hi. Skeletor's back. What's up, dude? All right. Now let me see what we got. What's going on? Okay, well, back when I was in the army, we trained with the JSDF and visited some of the battle. It's going too fast. The battle. Shoot, I lost it now. Where did it go? Some of the battle areas in Okinawa and our free time. Super creepy and heavy feeling. Yeah. So you know what I mean, Alpha Omega. You totally got the vibe that I got. The most depressing manga I ever read or ever seen is Junji Ito's No Longer Human. Yeah, Bryce. Yeah. Holy cow. No Longer Human. I think that's a manga I could read like once, and I don't want to read it again. Not because it's bad, but because it just hits you so hard. Ugh. It's so brutal. There's only one other one I ever read. I can't totally remember the name anymore. Hold on. Let me see what it was called. It was, I mean, I like just like wept openly. I couldn't handle it. Um, uh, Hold on. What? Something's not working right. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna get the name of this one. There we go. All right, videos. I actually did. I talked about it one time. The most depressing manga I've ever read. More. What was the name? Hold on. Dang it. It was this one, it was like an old man and his dog. And it's not like Hachiko or anything like that. But he pretty much like um he is at work one day, he has heart trouble and passes out, and his boss fires him for that. He goes home, he tells his wife, she divorces him for that. Um, his daughter and his wife and his son all work against him to take the house away from him in the court settling on their divorce. So he has to live in his car with his dog. And he kind of just is like, it's okay. I'm going to just travel the world and see all kinds of stuff. I like really travel Japan. And he does. And like he slowly whittles away the little bit of money he has. And well, you know what? I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but it gets more and more and more depressing until like you're literally in tears weeping by the end. Like you're just like, wow, life is really unfair. Um, but no longer human. God damn, that's a sad one. AI art is fun to make memes with, but in my opinion, it cheapens serious artists. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like there's some funny, goofy, or like crazy. Like here's the stuff I love. Take something like Harry Potter and be like, what if Harry Potter was a grim, dark fantasy and make it an AI? Like no one's claiming that they created that art. No one's trying to forge it as their own, and they're just taking an idea to say like, what if? And that's cool, man. I love seeing some of those, especially with this new, what is it called, Sora, where it like can actually start to make videos and stuff like that. That's pretty sick too. Like I like seeing they're kind of goofy and move weird, but there's like some weird sci-fi and horror stuff I've seen created by it that I'm just like, this is awesome because this isn't really something an artist could do quickly, and it's also something that like you couldn't film quickly either. So it's making a bunch of weird, creepy stuff fast and also like explore realms that maybe the human mind didn't go to create horror type stuff. And I like seeing that. But I just hate it when you're just like, this is a new manga and all the backgrounds were done in AI and it's just like stolen backgrounds from a bunch of other mangas mashed together. I find AI useful for coming up with conceptual stuff. However, it's ultimately a soulless cliche machine. So you have to use AI to help you think of things. Yeah, now that's fine. Like if it helps you create what you are going to physically draw, I also think coming up with conceptual stuff is fine. It's just when people use that stuff like right away and like, this is, I hand drew this. And you're just like, okay, that's why it's got six twisted fingers. Gosh, that one is so messed up. Uh, what else? Oh, shoot. What did I just do? Uh, I'm teaching myself AI so I can build a new power source using dried wood pellets. Richard, dude, I hope it goes well, man. Good luck. The big drawback to drawing digitally for me is a lack of commitment in your mark making. Yeah, okay. I'm feeling you on this. Digital art kind of removes the consequences of your actions and makes you uber perfectionist. Yeah, there's just something about it. Like you feel like you lose the ritual, you lose the craftsmanship. um some of your art comes from like you make a mistake and then you're like, well, I can kind of work with this, and something new comes from that mistake. And just like digital art, you just tap that thing two times and it goes back and there's no more mistakes, so you never even elaborate or expand your ideas or what you're doing, because it always is correcting you and you always want to correct yourself because you're like, oh, that doesn't look perfect. And so yeah, like with my RPG stuff, the role playing game stuff I make, I'll never use digital to do it. It's just it feels like I'm manufacturing almost like an AI version of what is really a passion project of mine. It takes away the passion, I feel like. So I gotta stick to like hand drawing. I haven't finished it yet. Kagura Bachi will be the next big one. Kagura Bachi. I'm writing that down. You better be right about this or we're not friends anymore. No, I'm just joking. All right, let me write that down. Manga. Kaburabachi. I don't know anything about this, but some of the best manga I've read has all been recommendations. Junji is my all-time favorite artist. The Skinner is my second. And Skinner. I don't know Skinner. Okay, Dubman, you should also check out Ochazuke Nore. Now, be careful when you search for this because that's also an actual dish in Japanese. This is his pen name. So like make sure you say like Ochazuke Nore manga. I mean, it's not going to show you anything disgusting if you find the food. It's literally like rice with tea used for its kind of soup. But his name is Ochazuke Nori, and if you like Junji Ito, you'll really like his stuff too. I have a 3-volume manga series based on No Longer Human. Is it the same one? Yeah. Yeah, it's the same one. There's like a massive book of it, but there's also like a series of it too. Um, Hold on. Oyasumi Poon Poon. Oh, that is a super depressing one. Oyasumi Poon Poon. If you guys haven't read it and you're like, you want to read something really existential and like really kind of, oh God, it's almost like a life-changing manga. Like it will tear your insides out and make you look at it. Like it's not gory, it's not disgusting, it's not horror, but it is such a beautiful existential crisis made into art. Um, God, Oyasumi Poon Poon. That brings back some memory. Man, I read that one over and over and over and over. All right, I'm back. I had to eat. It's all right, moderate. Don't worry about it. Is that scary? It's not scary, dumb man. It's not scary, but it's dark. It's really dark. Like, I mean, there's parts that I would say border on psychological horror, but in the sense that you're looking at life, like real true life as psychological horror. Thanks for the recommendation. I'll look into your description. Is it called Momonoko, The Last Days of an Old Man? Yes, that's the one. Yeah. Oh, Bryce, make sure you read that in the right mindset, dude. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God. It's a heavy one. What if you could train a personal local AI equipped computer to learn your style and help you get digital art to a good starting point, increasing the amount you could output? I'd say that would be okay if I constantly did need to come up with drawing new concepts to input it into the AI. It still kind of is in a gray area as far as like if I'd be okay with that. I don't know exactly. I understand because like look, like there's certain things AI does. So for example, animation, someone doesn't want to have to draw 26 frames every single time for one movement. And if the AI can do that to fill in the gap and animation gets put out faster, I'm all for stuff like that. Um, what I'm not is for AI to come up with the quote unquote original idea when it's all stolen from human minds. I hate, oh shoot, what did I just do? I hate when bands use AI for video. Rotting Christ, I love them, but dang, too much AI videos. Darko US put out one that was kind of like AI based, and I actually thought it was pretty decent, but I understand what you mean. I was planning to use AI to recreate a historical incidences. Oh, incidents. It just misspelled it somehow. Okay. And talk about them. That would be okay. That would be okay. I mean, I would just say like when you start it, when you have it doing that, be like, this is the program I use to do it. Um, and I use it to recreate this. Cause like that's like helping you elaborate on something that's already been in history. And if it's using, especially if it's being used for a teaching tool and stuff like that, I always encourage it to be used in that manner for sure. Please don't, Scott. Your RPGs are great like that. No, no, no. Like I've said, I won't even go digital with my RPG stuff. Like I can't. I tried to do my entire RPG in digital first, and I just fell out of love with the digital concept. And when I went back to just hand drawing it in pencil and ink again, I was like, no, this is like a true passion. I gotta stick to this. Check out Skinner. Okay, I'm gonna put Skinner down. Is Skinner the name of the artist? If you like psychological horror, I can recommend I already watched it. Blood on the Tracks, right? I've read the whole series, man. That is definitely. Oh, Aku no Hana is so good. Aku no Hana. I'd say of like my top 10 manga of all time. We gotta type the English title for everybody. Oh shoot, what did I just do? I actually didn't just close the chat in my. Okay, hold on. Ochizuka no manga. That's the one where. Okay, Aku no Hana. Dang it. Aku no Hana, aka Flowers of Evil. Flowers of Evil? It's so good. That's another one. Like Oyasumi Pun Pun, I say is like almost like life changing. Aku no Hana too is just like I didn't actually like it much when I first started reading it. Like I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of stupid. What the hell is this? And then as it progressed and kept following the character until he got to adulthood, then I was like, holy, like this is like revolutionary. This is like people confronting how trauma affects people like so close and so nitty gritty. Like everyone should have to read that book. It is so beautiful the way it explains the process of mental trauma, of growing up in an abusive situation, of dealing with it, of how it affects people, of why we should be sympathetic and empathetic to those who go through stuff. Like what it's an amazing it's like life changing. It's like Oyasumi Pun Pun. Everybody, it should be required reading. I would seriously, if I could, and I know this maybe some people be like, oh my god, I can't believe you'd say that. At least like high school kids, or maybe we'd have to wait till college. I don't know. I would make it required reading if I could, because it really shows how this doesn't have to be with you forever. You don't have to suffer forever. There is help out there. There is healing out there. There is relief from mental trauma if you're willing to confront it and do the work. Um, what a beautiful series, man. I know some people would call it horror or stuff like that, but it's not. It's existential. It's just such a goddamn. That's such a good series. Um, Deicide used AI for a mediocre album, but thankfully they didn't incorporate beyond that, and now are just chugging and grow. Okay, Deicide, I used to really like them. You really should watch Dark Silent Horror. Dark Silent Horror? I have not heard of this. Okay, that's added. All right, in your experience, how open are Japanese manga readers to reading works from Western creators? Um, it really depends. The hardest thing is finding a translation, or I should say a proper translation. Anything that's been machine translated kills, absolutely kills any literature. Um, I don't know how much readers around the world understand that. Machine translation just does not work for Japanese to English or English to Japanese. It works with like other stuff, like give somebody directions or like a manual or instructions. That usually works, but like because there's so much esoteric and colloquial language used in literature, comic books, etc., machine translation cannot handle that, at least at not this point. Um, I haven't talked to many Japanese people, even those like deeply into manga, who had any sort of connection to any Western comics. I think the problem is because they get beat over the head with the same three comics over and over again. Superhero garbage. I mean, I'm not trying to knock superhero stuff. There's superhero stuff I like too, but you know, couldn't they get a chance to read Neil Gaiman, or couldn't they get a chance to read something like The Invisibles, or uh, what are some of the more uh, or what's his name, who made Ubermensch? They should read like some of his crazy stuff. Ubermensch, or he made that one where the guy like had a superpower, but it like melted his body slowly. Like there's better stuff like that. You know, they respect and they appreciate, and some people even really like superhero comics. Um, but I wish it was expanded beyond, you know, the same 4 or 5 superheroes that every person internationally knows. It's kind of like, when someone tells you they're into Japanese manga and you're like, "What really? Like what?" And they're like, "Naruto." And you're like, "Oh, okay." That's like saying I'm into comics like Superman, like if you told a Japanese person that, they'd be like, "Oh, Naruto? Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool, cool, cool." And look, I love Naruto. I've watched almost all the original series, but I want to see people expand their knowledge, their breadth, their horizon as far as what they're reading beyond just like the stuff everybody knows. You know what I mean? Uh, all right. Akunahana is great. Yeah, God, it's so good. Okuni, by the way, welcome. What's that one dish that's on a flat top and it's egg mixed with cat? Oh, okonomiyaki. That's what it is, Alpha Omega. And you're okay. You really should watch Dark Silent Horror. Okay, we got that. Oh, decide Flowers of Evil would be great. Damn, you are faster than me. Yes, but my art of Skinner. The art of Skinner. Okay. Okay, got it. So you're confronting and doing the work. That's good, though, man. That's like the only way. I mean, the only way I've felt like I've made improvements on myself in my life is by confronting the worst part of me, the biggest mistakes, the denials, um, and just confronting it head on. I go to a psychologist, I go to a psychiatrist, I try to work on myself, and I know people don't always have access to stuff like that. That's the saddest thing. Is like we should all have access to that. Um, but the biggest improvements I've ever made in my life personally and, economically, job wise, life wise, being married wise is by confronting my worst parts, by like acknowledging where I suffer and acknowledging how that affects the output of what I give back to life. I don't know how true this is, but I heard anime/manga got so big in Japan because their movie industry didn't have the money to throw around. Yeah, yeah, that is true. Transmetropolitan. I've never heard of this. Transmetropolitan. All right, I'll look into that one too. Naruto is old now. Yeah, because I'm old now. Yeah, Japan himself. Oh, believe me, I've been on my soapbox a lot proclaiming that comics are an art form and not a genre. Yeah, they're definitely an art form. Who calls them a genre? There's many genres within the art form. The art of what manga has impressed you the most? Hmm, that's a good question. Shoot, that's a really good question. Oh, I know. Kazuo Umezu. That's who. Look into that guy's like hyper detail, and his stories and everything he's put into his work. That's probably Chicken Joe. Oh no, it's not called Chicken Joe. It's called 14. 14 years old, aka Chicken Joe. And then left hand of God, right hand of the devil. Um, yeah, that guy's a madman. He is like, you need to just check out his life. Like, he didn't do anything bad or anything, or like anything, but like, just he's one of those artists that is in his own world. Everybody's like, you are you in your own world, man. And he's like, I don't care. I love it. Like, no, no F's to give, man. That guy's just like, I know I'm weird. I know I'm crazy. I know I do weird stuff, but screw you all. It's me, man. He's sick, dude. He's awesome. I saw a therapist a while, then stopped when I left. Like we'd worked through pretty much everything. Then I realized I'd literally never even brought up any of my deep traumas. It's hard. It's not an easy thing. I mean, the fact that you got started is good. Like, there's a lot of people who never even start, who just deny that they even need any help whatsoever. But the fact that you just got started is good. But of course, like you can't imagine that the first time you've ever tried it, you dig into the deepest stuff. That's a layered onion, man. Like look at me, I'm 45 years old. Like I would only say probably in the last 5 to 10 years have I really taken a good cold hard look at myself and dissected and been introspective enough to like do some deep work on myself. It's hard, man. I have a big collection of manga, Fist of the North Star, good stuff. Angel Cup. Wow, these are some hardcore oldies. Cyber City 808, Ninja Scroll. Oh man, dude. What is that other one? Wicked City. You guys ever watch that anime movie? Oh man. Oh yeah, Cat Eyed Boy. We'll check Kazuo's work. Chicken George. Was it Chicken George? Yeah, Chicken George. Sorry. Why did I call him Chicken Joe? I can't. Sorry. It's been a long time since I read 14 Years Old. That's the name of it, by the way. Everybody starts dying at the age of 14. Went to Tokyo last year. I went to a few book offs. Could not find 14 Years Old. Damn, dude. Honestly, if I could, I would send you the series because my wife used to have all of them. She sold them to book off. Wicked City Shinjuku. Man, that's a good one. Wicked City Shinjuku. Ah, that's like a really comfort movie for me. Ugh. I wish I could watch all those old mangas again all those old animes again for the first time. God, what was it? There was another one that was like that. I can't remember now. Anyway, guys, let's hold on. I'm gonna go to my library. I just recently downloaded a bunch of stuff. Um, I've been doing a deep dive into trying to find some little known um, Japanese games. I'd say Japanese horror mostly. Um, that I want to do for future streams. So later in this stream, let's talk about some of them and see which one you guys think would be the best. Um, Barefoot Gen. It'd be Gen, right? Gagi Gugego. Yeah, Gen. Literally Astro Boy era Hiroshima anime that's heavier than oh, that's another one. Why didn't we talk about that when we were talking about ultra sad movies? Grave of the Fireflies. After I had kids, I could never watch it again. Like being a parent and trying to watch Grave of the Fireflies is like slowly stabbing yourself in the heart for entertainment. It's good, don't get me wrong. The story's amazing, the art is amazing. It's Studio Ghibli for God's sakes, who could go wrong? But the tragedy, the epic sadness is just so brutal. I don't want to give any of it away if you haven't seen Grave of the Fireflies yet, but oh God, my kids were like almost the same age when I finally watched that for the first time, um, in Japanese. The first time I watched it in English, I was kind of like, yeah, okay. And then I tried to watch it again in Japanese, after my kids were born. I was like, I can't. These kids sound like my kids, and I just can't. I can't watching anything with kids suffering that's. I won't say it's like a phobia or like anything for me, but it got much harder after being a father. It got much, much, much harder. Uh, when you first watch Ninja Scroll, is legendary. All right, awesome. And welcome to the stream, Nicholas. What's up, dude? Uh, Ninja Scroll movie first part was messed up with the girl. I haven't watched that. I don't think. I don't think I've watched Ninja Scroll. Just watch your video about Ubisoft insulting the Japanese. Crazy. Yeah, it's unhinged. Um, I don't I don't get it. I don't know why you would dig into another culture and not worry about disrespecting it. Like, they didn't do this with any of the other games they came out with. Like, I feel almost like they're treating it like, oh, you can't be racist to Asian people, right? Like, I mean, they're kind of even racist just to black people too. I mean, only playing rap music when the Black Samurai comes out. I mean, is that not a disgusting trope? Like, I don't get it. I don't see like there's what's the word that I've heard recently that goes around now? It's toxic positivity. I'm sure you guys have probably heard of this. What's up? Is she still on the phone? All right, all right. Toxic positivity is when your work group or your workplace is doing something that you know just kind of sucks or is just like bad or just not going to turn out right. But you know, if you try to bring something up or like make an outcry against it, you're going to get nothing but negativity in retort. Hence, you only put forth toxic positivity, meaning it's literally toxic to the company, it's toxic to the workplace. It's not going to help the product, it's not going to help the client, it's not going to improve customer relations. It's actually going to hurt it. But because you know everyone around there's like so gung ho about it, you just sit there like, oh, he, yeah, it's the looks great. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Good job, guys. Keep going. Like I feel like that is what's going on at Ubisoft. Like a bunch of people came up with an idea that were like, you know what people would really relate to? Doing this with Japan. And like some people are like horrified, like, oh, didn't we steal that art from the banner of a war enactment group? Didn't we use the Torii Gate that was bombed during Nagasaki that's like seen as like a commemorative and religious icon and not like something cool to put in games? There's one other religious symbol too that they put on a shield or something like that, that it's like literally within the Shinto religion, you're not supposed to recreate the image unless it's recreated on something holy within their shrines. I forget what it is off the top of my head. My knowledge of Shintoism needs to go deeper, but they used that. And it was actually Japanese streamers who showed it and were just like, no, 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 you don't redraw this. No, you don't. Nobody gets to use this. This is not something you copyright. Like they were like enraged by it. And Ubisoft's using that too. I should look into that one deeper and bring it up more. There's just so many things. It's just kind of like taking a culture and looking at it as a form of entertainment rather than a tradition of people and culture. Like they literally are just taking Japanese and are like, "Hey guys, you like anime and manga? Hey guys, you know Japanese people, they cosplay? Cool. That's all they are, is just like cosplayers." Like I don't know why they think anything they're doing right now is okay. They're literally just taking Japan and the Japanese history and the people and just parading it around like their entertainment form. I don't know. I hope it bites them later. I hope karma is real when it comes to Ubisoft. Uh, is Grave of the Fireflies the one based on "He's not heavy, he's my brother"? Isn't that a saying from Philadelphia? Grave of the Fireflies is about kids surviving post World War II when Japan was like ultra poor and people were starving to death. I'm not sure. I'm really confused. He's not heavy. He's my brother. Maybe they say that in there. Maybe that is part of it. I don't remember that though. Um, not saying you're wrong, Cricket. You might actually be right. That might be something they say in there. Uh, what else we got? I gotta make dinner, but wanted to leave a comment for the algorithm. Thank you, Chrissy. You always take the time to leave comments, and they're always insightful. So I always appreciate that, Chrissy. Thank you. Scott, have you ever watched Soul Station about the zombie epidemic in South Korea? The animation is brilliant. Yeah, I did watch that. Wasn't that like supposed to be based on the Train to Busan and what was that other one? The Island or the Peninsula or whatever. Peninsula was pretty garbage. I wasn't very happy with that one, but Train to Busan was incredible. The Japanese love our game, Ubi crap. Yeah, they just canceled their time at the Tokyo Games showcase, because what I'm guessing is they're already getting a ton of hate. You know, they've actually been saying that like their excuse for the Japanese backlash on what they've been making is they're touting the idea that the backlash is just Western people using auto translate to pretend to be Japanese people angry about the game. That might be true for like a handful of the accounts doing that, but other Japanese people can tell when they're reading something that is machine translated and when it's natural Japanese people are speaking. I don't think Ubisoft can, because it seems like they don't know anything about Japan. It seems like they just like maybe cut out a few chunks of Edo era Japan. Were like, these are cool. Let's add these to our crazy setting. Scott, radical question, may be taboo, but could one hypothetically summon Yuki, Onna, or an Onryo? Well, actually, Yuki Onna is an Onryo. Onryo is any ghost or like vengeful spirit that is a female. Hence the word on starting the word. Like the kanji is actually for Onna, for woman. Could someone summon? Yeah, I mean you could. You could Kakuri. Kakuri-san. I'm sure you've heard of Japanese Ouija board called Kakuri-san. You take a 5 yen coin, you've got all the hiragana listed on the board, and you and your friends use the 5 yen coin as the planchette. If you don't know what a planchette is, it is that triangle that is used on the Ouija board. The planchette goes around and you can summon the voices of long dead spirits. And yeah, there's been paranormal stories of people either being possessed or calling on Onryo or calling on yokai or, you know, like I said, I'm a skeptic, but at the same time, I'm never one to mess with stuff. Like, for example, there would be people who would tell me like, why don't you make a video of like Hitori de hide and go seek, like being alone and playing hide and go seek, like an old ritual in Japan. And I was just like, no, why would I tempt fate? Like, why would I do that? Or like even the elevator game, like going around and trying to get to another dimension via taking this series of buttons and ups and downs on a elevator. Um, I don't want to mess with it. Like, why tempt fate? Like, why? It's cool to read the stories. It's cool to get deep into paranormal investigation, but to go through with rituals that supposedly connect you to a darker side of the ether beyond, I don't want to do it. I don't want to, you know, um, if all the results are written about negatively, like why try to summon anything negative? You know what I mean? Sorry, Hanako-san 2, the red blue toilet ghost as well. Forgot the name. Akamanto. Akamanto is the red blue guy, and Hanako-san. Hanako-san still has like a pretty strong following in Japan. Like even my own kids knew about that and like said people at their school would play around with that. Like Hanako-san is kind of like our version of Bloody Mary. You know how like you spin around 3 times and say Bloody Mary into the mirror and she'll show up. Like they would play around with Hanako-san the same way. So it's still going strong. If you're interested in like a game that kind of really does, check out Death Mark. Maybe I should actually play this game actually. Death Mark 2. I should actually play this one maybe. I don't know how much is that on Steam right now. Sometimes their games are like a ridiculous price, so I don't always really want to. Hey, speaking of games, has anyone played Forever Winter yet? Death Mark 2. Wait, isn't it called Death Mark? I know it's got a different name in Japanese. Isn't it Death Mark NG? What is it called? I must be getting the name wrong. I'll just put NG. Maybe that'll make it show up. Dang it, what's the name of it now? I might have the name wrong. I thought it was called Deathmark. I haven't. The original games came out like kind of long ago, probably about like 8 years ago or so, and then they just recently did a new one. Dang, what is it called? The first one was a visual novel, but the new one is like a 2D side scroller. And the main enemy in that is Hanako, but she's taken to like this epic level. Anyway, I've never heard of that game before. Okay, what the heck is it called? Let me make sure. I'm pretty sure it's called Deathmark. I don't know why Steam isn't bringing. Maybe it's not on Steam, but I thought for sure it was. All right, Deathmark VN. How about that? Yeah, it is called Deathmark. Oh, Spirit Hunter. Okay, hold on. Let me check that. Spirit Hunter NG. Wait, this is weird. When I type in Spirit Hunter, it comes up as Deathmark. Okay, whatever. Okay, Spirit Hunter. Let me write that one down. Spirit Hunter. And then Deathmark. Whoops, I hit caps. 2. There we go. I thought for sure, I was like, is this called? All right. And is the newest one part 2? Hold on. Let me go to the game company that makes it. Spirit Hunter Deathmark 2. Yeah, I'm totally right. Why did it not come up when I typed in Deathmark? Oh, no, wait. Is this a side-scroller one? It is. I was totally... When you look up this game, you'll totally understand why I called it Deathmark. But yeah, dude. I agree, but me, unfortunately, I'm a thin place, if you know what I mean. Means so I'm a haunted person. The ancestors blessed with me. Yeah, my wife is like that too. So I do understand what you're talking about. Hence, even though I'm a skeptic, I keep an open mind. And anything my wife tells me, like she's a very rational person. She's very down to earth. And sometimes she sees stuff that is some kind of like paranormal sighting. Like she's told me she's seen stuff before. She's like, I just saw like this super long hair on the road, and it was like going down a drain, and I feel like this drain over here has some kind of haunting on it. Like she tells me something like that. I'm not like, okay, or whatever. Like I'm like, oh, that's weird. Okay, cool. Like where about and stuff. And I'll look at it and I'll check it out, and she'll be like, yeah, I don't know. I just get like a bad feeling about this area right here. And I think that's what it is. There's just people who are connected to that stuff more than those of us who aren't. I'm playing Gears of War 3 on hardcore. Nice, nice. I'm kind of haunted too. So see, guys, like when you say stuff like that, I believe you. I do. I actually do, but I've never seen it. I'm totally skeptical of it. I have no experience with running into anything or seeing anything aside from, pretty much like nothing. I've gone to places that are supposedly haunted and didn't see a damn thing. But when people tell me that they have some sort of connection to that or are closer to that or have an experience with that, I believe them. Unless, like, I mean, I've had some people tell me stories that I'm like, okay, like it gets like too crazy where you're just like, all right, this is like way too detailed for other people to not have seen it with you. But like, if people tell me they have like feelings about a place or saw a glance of something or like had a bad dream about something or like a premonition, I'm totally open to that. But I'm sure you've all had the crazy person who's been like, and then her ghost brought me a birthday cake, and it was at my birthday party, and nobody else could see it but me. But they're singing me birthday, and you're just like, what? Am I supposed to be impressed by this story? Where is this story going? Like, you're just like too crazy. Where you're just like, okay, this is getting a little bit out of hand. Shadow Corridor, good one. I've seen that one. I mean, I've played that one. Sampo, yep, I played that one. And Akamanto, they were all good. I think they were actually half made by Chilla's Art, weren't they? And Nyx, right? In Nyx Games. NYX, that is. Hold on. Let's just do Chilla's Art. Boop. All right. Chilla's art. Yeah, Akamanto was Chilla's art and Nick's games. Sanpo, I'm not so sure about. That might have been Nick's all by itself. Sanpo literally just translates to like go for a stroll. All right. No, I want the skepticism because I don't want to be haunted anymore. LL, but ironically, it makes it worse. Yeah, I can imagine. Most of the time when I've experienced weird or paranormal stuff, it's always in the most mundane places. But I mean, I guess that would make sense though, right? Like, if there's layers of a world beyond ours of afterlife, it doesn't need to be like in a horrific place. Like ghosts don't exist in a slaughterhouse, right? Like ghosts exist in place where things have been built over and their memory lingers, or there's like the residual of them and stuff like that. That would make more sense to me. All right, let's see. But yeah, have you ever watched those shows where they're like, we're going to this haunted jail, and we've also brought along Claire, who, although has no certificate or license, is a strong clairvoyant. And they get in there, and like everyone else is like, okay, this place is pretty creepy and stuff. She's like, oh my God, I'm seeing a man. He's hung. He's got a razor next to his throat. And there's another man. He's screaming at him. And the other guy's saying, stop, stop, don't kill me. And you're just like, Claire, what the hell are you talking about? Like, chill out. Nobody's sensing anything or seeing anything yet. We know you're here to have your face on camera, but can you just relax and pace yourself, Claire? I'm a naturalist, don't believe in the supernatural at all, but I do think we instinctively sense when things are good or bad, and people have supernatural beliefs that can be put into a spiritual language. Yeah, I'm down with that too. That makes sense. In case people don't believe in spirits, they do exist. I'm gonna try to be more like that, Bryce. Yeah, yeah, the only times where is like when they have one of those shows where it's like this person has a way to speak to the dead, and like as soon as they get on there you can tell they're just like performing for the camera. Then I feel like people like that give those who do have some sort of paranormal sense or some sort of sense of the beyond, like they give them a bad name because they're just like ridiculous hammy actors that I can't stand. Dreamt my boyfriend's boat hit a sandbar at night. Boat tilted left, his father in the bilge, pumping out water. Guess what happened? Yeah, so okay, like something like that, that's believable. That's believable. And there's some kind of connection there that we as humans just don't understand yet. Like, what do they say? Time is on a flat circle, right? So, like, maybe somehow some part of you is sensing this through the way that we don't experience time, right? So you're seeing something that's going to happen, hasn't happened, but does happen. And I feel like there is a way that when science becomes strong enough, we are able to break things like that down. There's also other um, experiments that people have done that have shown that certain vibrations make us experience the same sense that someone would have of a paranormal presence. I'll never forget there was this one show I was watching one time of a guy who used this area in his lab downstairs because it was perfect. It was a perfect environment for cleaning his fencing sword, right? It had something where he could put it in this machine and it would only slightly like vibrate it so that when he would like wipe it along the edge, it would get like all the dirt off and keep it like super sharp or something like that. And he started to notice every time he started up this machine to do that, this vibration, he would start to sense other people in the room with him or something like that. And it was found out later that it vibrated his eyeballs too while it was going. And it was in a way that it was just enough and just the perfect vibration that would cause your eyes to see like things that weren't there, see like shadows or like contort things just enough. Now, I'm not saying like every single paranormal sighting ever is people's eyeballs vibrating. I think there's other things that eventually science will catch up to explain because what do they say? Science that is too advanced for the current population or contemporary people is considered like magic, right? if we were to go back in time, like to like caveman, and they saw a car, they would just think like, oh, you magic moving machine. Like they wouldn't even know the word machine. They'd just be like, it's magic. It has no legs and move. Like, and that's, I think, sometimes what we're experiencing. Like maybe there is a way that we're seeing the afterlife through science. Maybe there is a way we're sensing residual hauntings through a scientific, measurable way, but our science hasn't caught up to it yet. That's where more of my beliefs, that's where they're at. Some of the equipment on ghost shows are kind of silly. Kind of silly? I mean, I frankly think quite a few of them are ultra silly. I mean, okay, I could understand something like a movement sensor. That kind of makes sense, okay? We know how like a movement sensor works, but like what's the one thing called? A spirit box where it just like randomly grabs radio waves to supposedly be the speech for ghosts. I mean, you know what else I could do? Write a bunch of words down on a piece of paper and roll a dice and say one is for the, two is for ghost, three is for, like, I could just assign a bunch of words to that and it would be the equivalent to a spirit box. It's random selections on a constantly running radio wave. How is that that's the speech of ghosts? I think it was an ancestor. Lots of sailors in my family for a long time. Okay. Dose a EMF meter. Does an EMF meter work? I would have to look into EMF meters better. Like, I mean, okay, so for example, what's the one thing called where you record supposed ghost voices? What do they call it? Like a paranormal voice or something like that, where like they just run like a tape recorder or something that records sound and tiny weird sounds that they hear. They're like, she's saying, I was hung above the stairs. Well, there's like been a bunch of studies that show you can take like any kind of mangled sentence or muffle it's saying one thing and then immediately change it to another thing. And the two groups of people be like, yeah, you're right, they are saying that. And it's just like your mind trying to form patterns or sentences. It's the same thing with how the mind tries to form faces, even in the dark. Our mind tries to find things that are common to it, like it forces them if it has to. And that's what some of this goofy stuff that they supposedly see with these machines and all that, that's all it is. There's a great old documentary called Marjo by preacher who didn't believe anymore. He shows how he makes people have spiritual healing experiences through manipulation. His inspiration was Mick Jagger. Wow. I was hung. I thought you were going to say I was hungry. I was hungry by the stairs, so I got a snack. All right. I got a big piece of food in my teeth. Oh, I just got it out. Gross. Nasty. That's nasty. All right, let's see here. Well, they found out Van Gogh and his Starry Night, the spirals he made were actually atmospheric currents that his eye caught. Yeah, now like that's something understandable. All right. And what did I miss? Somebody up here said something. I think it was, oh, okay, that's one I saw. Okay. I have always held the belief that ghosts are electrical energy. I can't explain it more than that. I mean, ghosts could be some sort of energy. Energy never dies, right? You type ones and zeros into a computer, and it eventually, as it's released from the computer, that comes out of it, it's still another thing. Energy never ever completely dies. So the same has to be true about the human, whatever is our ethos, our spirit, our soul, our ethereal form. I feel like there is something inside of all of us that is a unique conscious that when the body passes on, some part of that passes on too. How, why, where? I'm not going to try and explain because I haven't had an encounter with anyone getting out of death alive. And until I do, I won't assume I do know what happens after. And seeing how hung a ghost is sounds like. Yeah. They should make that Earl manga. You guys are awesome. What would that genre be called? Uropada? erotic paranormal manga. I love that Starry Night. I wrote a poem about how much it resonated with me. It is a great painting. It's amazing. I've worked with stuff like about that. I actually had an art project in my class about Starry Night. Okay. Yeah, I think there is like, and there's also like one of the most believable things is the residual haunting, where how someone died traumatically is replayed over and over and over in a certain area. Like, people seeing like Civil War ghosts or people seeing like, something left over from the Holocaust or something like that. That would make sense that it leaves some kind of mark on Earth that we can't relate. We can't relate. It's an ineffable experience. There's certain levels of trauma, of pain, of human suffering that I think like we don't have the right way of identifying having lasted throughout time. And I'm not saying people are actually seeing ghosts die over and over again or something like that, but the energy, like the trauma put into energy, like I said, energy keeps existing. Maybe that could leave like a scorch mark, if you will. That's like the best analogy I can make. After there's a massive explosion, after there's like a massive heat dispersion from like the bottom of a rocket or something like that, there's a charred mark, right? It maybe slowly degrades over time, but it leaves a char mark. And I feel like that's kind of what residual haunting is. It's like a smoking husk. It's like a charred area where trauma burnt into that place. And that's believable to me. Like I've never seen it, I've never witnessed it. I've had people tell me about seeing stuff. And in certain places it really makes sense where you're like, maybe that made like, an imprint on the timeline. Time works in ways that we don't fully comprehend as humans. Read Slaughterhouse Five and learn about the Kurt Vonnegut writes about, and that'll make you realize like, oh, we really don't have any concept of time at all, do we? We really don't fully grasp it because our human conscious, our human mind, how much we've evolved hasn't fully wrapped around that aspect of life. It's the same with like infinity. We know what infinity is, we can kind of describe it, but the human mind can't fully grasp infinity. And that's the same thing that I feel goes on with things like death, like afterlife, like God, like it's, someone with the brain of a penguin trying to understand thermodynamics. It's never going to happen. We're never going to explain thermodynamics to the penguin, right? But with enough time and enough evolution, maybe it can be grasped, right? Like maybe when we do get to the afterlife and continue to exist in an eternal form that goes on and on and on, you have enough time in evolution and conceptual grasp of those things we could never fully understand with our meat puppets, with our skin suits. Maybe when we finally do get released into the ether and the existence of existing beyond a mortal coil, our immortal spirit has the time, the progression, the evolution, and the enlightenment to grasp things our mortal minds never were meant to. And that's why here on Earth we don't have explanations for some things we witness, see, or are beyond life itself. I can see the char mark being the memory of trauma itself. Yeah, exactly, Jonas Slocum. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I love stuff about witches, satanic rituals, but I can't bring myself to believe in any. Yeah, I'm the same way, Bryce. I love like stuff that goes into any kind of like witchcraft or like black magic or even alchemy and stuff like that. Like arts that have long been proven to be completely a hoax, like alchemy, turning anything into gold and stuff. But I love reading about it. I love getting into like, the names of demons. What's the one that's like the Book of 52 Demons or something? It's like King Solomon, right? King Solomon's like 52 demon. Like those are amazing. Those are incredible. Do I really believe there's like 52 different demons out there for like every sin you commit? No. No. I love stories about hell. I love Dante's Inferno. I love um anything that delves into like the 9 layers of torment and stuff like that. But do I believe there's actually like a hell waiting for people after life? No, no, I don't believe that. God is still a very like gray area for me. I am open to the existence of God. I even do think there probably is something that is far beyond like what we experience here on earth. But I think the most idiotic thing man has ever done was tried to create God in their own light, to imagine him a man, to imagine him to even have gender, to imagine him even being someone with a beard and a human form that floats above us. That's such an insult to what a God could be. I'll understand it in certain aspects of mythology because you're dealing with people who existed like thousands of years ago, and it was hard for them to imagine things on such a level. Their creativity was just starting. But for us to continue in this modern day to have religions that revolve around human shaped gods with human anger and, human revenge for people doing bad stuff is so idiotic to me that there would be someone up there being like, "Oh, now you didn't give food to the poor, and I heard you say a naughty word to somebody sometime, so to hell with you." Like, to imagine such a petty aspect to something that is God, to imagine there's even a God so petty and vain to be like, I need to be worshipped so that you can go to my happy place. Like, that is a man created idea. That is a human created idea. To imagine something existing on that level being so petty and vain to need people to acknowledge them, it's silly to me. Paimon's game. Paimon, what a cool demon that one was. Never play King of the Hill? Oh, you mean like where you push people down and stuff? Like the monotheistic regions of all speak of all powers. Yeah. 52 demons is what I call Taco Bell menu. Come on, man. Taco Bell's good. I agree with you on that. Man's concept of God, the Christian concept of God, seems to be so human and culturally defined that it seems absurd to think God is that limited. Yeah, I mean, think about how absurd that is. If God created man, the only thing man has done is been insulting enough to recreate God in his own image. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, to give him mortal concepts such as like being angry because we were bad boys and bad girls. Like, that's so like one of the things they always teach you in like Christianity and stuff is like understand people's pain by realizing they're going through a rough time, right? Like, for example, hurt people, right? People who've been abused become abusers. People who were diddlers become diddlers when they grow up and stuff like that. Well, if there's a God, they can see this thread on another level that we can't even imagine. So why are we imagining a God who dictates rules in a man-made way of like good people here, bad people here, good people here, bad people there? Like, who's to say there's even a heaven, right? Who's to say there's not a place that is a like waiting room, right? I mean, if we take the concept of like nirvana and Shintoism, where you literally go back to the soul pool, as I talked about earlier in another video, when you die, there isn't this like sudden choice between heaven and hell. There's merely like uh, a rejoining of the pool of souls waiting to come back to life. And in Shintoism, you evolve as a soul through multiple levels. You go and you try your time as a rock. You go and try your time as a plant. You go and try your time as an animal, human, etc., etc. And there's even a point where you go beyond human and you don't become like spiritual human. You actually get to try different levels of spirituality. You become like pretty much the existence of like a saint, of an angel, of an archangel, and you slowly work your way up until you reach the point of God. And you don't become like a God beyond yourself. You join the God. And the God is made up of 2,000 different gods within Shintoism. And that's because all those whatever entities have reached that level where they're able to rejoin the God. It means they've experienced everything, learned everything, gotten a better grasp of what existence is to the point that they can come back and add to the helping of existence, of putting things into existence. And that makes way more sense to me than this angry bearded man upstairs being like, "No, you bad, you say bad word, you going hell." Like this sounds like little kitty stuff that like people who have trouble with rules have had to obey because their conscious itself hasn't learned how to control them. In which case, you're coming back as a rock. This is why I don't believe in karma, some all knowing power that decides what's bad and good and punishes or rewards me accordingly. I hope I evolve into Charizard. Um, I think you're gonna mega evolve. Definitely not CC. You're gonna mega evolve, mega evolution. You're gonna be one of those like godlike Pokemon. Um, that's why there could be no right answer at all. Hereafter concepts hold a piece to the puzzle of our understanding of after death. Yeah, I think the ideas we have of an afterlife and the ideas we have of a god are just like silly, silly ideas. Like, I'm not saying there isn't such things. I'm just saying like we only have a human grasp of them because we're limited by a mortal mind. How the mortal mind thinks it can experience the creations of an immortal or spiritual mind seems very arrogant. Um, I feel like we're allowed to believe, we're allowed to not believe, but to say we for sure know is complete arrogance. It's something existing on another dimension, another plane, another beyond this world where we've had zero experience and zero people come back and tell us what it's like. So why are we trying to dictate to others what it is? Um, I see all of that as complete ignorance. I mean, preachers, especially with like the very like money-based Christianity in America who are on TVs pleading for money and all this different stuff, they're complete con men. I have no other thought other than con men. Even priests in my own religion that I grew up with, Catholicism, I wouldn't say they're all con men, but I'd say they're all deluded by the religion itself. How they would think they have wise words for me when they haven't even experienced the mortal stuff I have. No priest I've ever met has had kids, been married, bought a house, paid taxes because they're a tax-free place. It's a religious organization is tax-free. How they're going to tell me what the right and wrong way to do these things is makes no sense to me. You haven't lived anything of my life experience. Why would you tell me how I should handle these experiences? And the same thing goes for all these other people talking about the beyond. Don't try to dictate this stuff to people when you yourself have never touched any side of this or seen any experience of this. Silly. Uh, Definitely not CC. Came into the conversation mad late. Don't worry, the conversation's never too late, bud. You're always welcome, and we always want to take everybody's input. Sounds like the last airbender. What if we are our own karma? What if we are our own God? Have you ever thought about that? Like, what if God is a mass of the long dead spirits of humanity looking back in on itself? Or what if the universe is actually God and the universe creates all things to understand all things? Like as it continues to create stuff and continues to expand, because we know the universe, the galaxy, that everything in space in general is always expanding. The reason for that is because it's a God that is learning, just like we as humans are learning about our constant expanding existence. New things are created every day in our own moral world. Who's to say new things aren't created every day on the spiritual side that a God itself is learning from and can't continue to fully conceive of until it's made everything, which there is no end to, which is infinity, which is why immortality is its existence. With all the different religions or mythologies leading up to today, it's amazing to me that some people can be 100% committed to just one idea and just run with it. Jonas Slocum, I totally understand what you mean, but there's a reason for that. For some people, it's really out of a fear. Death is a scary thing. Not existing, not being here on earth is a scary thing to some people. Not having rules is very scary for some people. Um, some people want to be pointed on a path, like they desperately, desperately want to be led and never lead themselves. And that's fine. That's why religion exists. For those who need it. They need it for their strength to lean on, for their pretty much their instruction booklet for life. And if that's what they need, if that makes them feel whole, if that makes them feel sane, if that keeps their life together, if that helps them to stay organized and live a good and full conscious life, that's okay. I see nothing wrong with that. Um, but my only problem with certain aspects of it is when those rule books, those uh, that proselytize, say that their way is the only way, or say that their way teaches us what the one true God is, as if there was only one God. How do you know that? That teaches us that all other religions and all other gods are false and will send you to hell, to teach us that there's things that will blight us or damn us just for being the way we were born or lived our life. For example, I always find it very funny that there's some religions that if you never believe in their form of the religion, you are damned to hell. If you never believe in their God, worship their God, you are damned to hell. Yet there are still villages, there are still clans, there are still tribes that exist outside the world of technology, born onto an island within that tribe with no outside existence to anything in the world. And they're still, I guess, considered damned, which is no fault of their own. So you're telling me God creates all these lives, puts them on that planet, puts them on that island, puts them in a place that takes them away from every possible communication or explanation of who he is, and then also damns them. Can you turn down just a little bit? Sorry. What happened? Is mom okay? All right, I'll call her up later. She's just talking to you about kanji. Okay, okay, makes sense. Just study in general. Just checking up on you. All right, that's good, man. I'm glad you had a talk with her. Scott, I feel very much affinity to what you're saying as someone who grew up with Islamic clerical bullying and spiritual blackmail. I grew up in the Catholic Church, so I totally understand what you mean. I grew up absolutely terrified that anything I was doing was sending me to hell. I grew up in a Catholic church, went to church every Sunday, had priests lecture to me about how God is watching my every micro movement, and grew up very scared of hell, very worried that I wasn't going to heaven, and then having like a kind of crisis of faith by the time I got to college. And it was a struggle. It was a struggle. I was at war with myself. And it wasn't until I started to realize that me as a human trying to give form, give rule, give dictation to what the side of spiritual being was from my side of the plane of existence really made no sense. I was finally able to relax. I was finally able to let go. I was finally able to realize maybe those old men up at the podium didn't have all the answers. In fact, maybe they were just as clueless as I was. Dang, Sensei Scott donkey punched the broke the barrier. Rich preachers and prosperity preachers are a bad representation of Christianity. Money focuses money focus isn't biblical. As from biblical stuff I've witnessed, some power. I'm a believer. And look, that's fine. Like, please understand. Any religion you're part of, any faith you follow, any God you believe in, I am not here to doubt it, mock it, or not believe, or tell you not to believe. I think there is strength and wisdom in many different forms of religion. There's many amazing lessons. I have multiple different types of Bibles. I have read the full Bible. I love the stories from the Bible. But the only thing I am against, number one, proselytization. No one should try to force their belief on another person. And number two, man trying to give form to the spiritual side. I feel like that is an insult to everything that is God, godly, heavenly, hell, whatever. I think it is a complete insult for us as humans. It is arrogance and just disgusting for us to try and tell other humans the rules of a side of existence that none of us have ever come back from to tell others about. I suppose I just really have a problem with the zealotry, yeah, that I see in a lot of people in regards to their beliefs and how that person might hold that over someone else. Yeah, that's disgusting. I completely agree with you, Jonah. Those proselytizers out there that extol how they themselves have the true path, the true light, the true God, and that any under them who do not follow such a way are damned to a hell that they know nothing about, that are damned to an afterlife that they've never been to or come back from or experienced, that they are being sent to are going to go to a place that there's no tangible or visual way to prove it, right? I like the idea that God was lonely, so it basically divided itself into everything that exists in the universe in order to experience everything. That's kind of the same thing that, like, the universe is us, we are the universe, and the universe made, created, put into existence, however you want to um, use the word play to create it. It's to understand all things. And to understand all things, you need to create all things. And that's what the one God, the one universe, the many gods, the many universes, the multidimensional, who knows what true existence is doing. So basically, everyone you meet is also you just having a new experience. Yes, yes, yes. There's a term for this idea, but I can't remember. I'm not religious though. I lean more towards agnostic. Yeah, I would say I'm more agnostic too, because we can't really know what happens when we die. Yeah. Nobody gets out of death alive, right? Nobody comes back from death to be like, I've seen it, everybody. It's real. He's a big bearded man with a halo above his head, and all his friends have wings. Well, that's in the commandments, not giving a form to God. Well, it depends on which Bible you're reading too. And that's the other silly thing is we're taking the words of men who existed thousands of years ago who had no clue what the modern or contemporary world would be and had these laws that, like, I mean, there's stuff in the Bible about how you don't mix your milk plate with your meat, right? This was like sanitary based. There's stuff in the Bible about it's okay to beat your wife or children or slaves, and slaves could be beaten almost to the point of death, but you shouldn't beat them so bad that they do die. Like, should we still be taking this stuff as gospel? Should this still be part of our beliefs? Absolutely not. And I think, as we grow in intelligence, as we evolve as humans, as we learn more about science, as we have things broken down into not concepts, but actual technical forms of experiment, we will come to learn a better way to, how would you say, come to a singularity between the spiritual and the science. And then we'll finally find like what true existence means. Will that ever happen in the time of humans? Maybe not. Maybe humans will be long extinct and God will be kicking it with aliens. Constantine knows, I'm sure. Constantine's awesome. I like the idea that God is a clown, a jokester, just having fun. That's also fine with me. Exactly. Bible means library. It's just a guide for the era. Yeah. I mean, if you find stuff in the Bible that is inspirational, that's awesome. If you find stuff in the Bible that give you a purpose in life or help you balance your life or show you temperance or anything like that, that's awesome. Stick with it. If following your religion gives you um, a certain sturdy balance every day in your life and helps you along the straight and narrow and keeping things together, that's awesome. That's great, man. Keep going with it. And don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let anybody sway you in a different way. But also don't try to proselytize that to the non-believer. That works for you. Don't assume that that is the recipe for everybody's ingredients of life. Working in healthcare, I've encountered people who died and came back The stories are interesting because they recount similar things, but of course the details are vague. Yeah, I love hearing um, um, stories from the afterlife of near-death experiences. What do they call it? NDEs and stuff like that. But you know what also grosses me out about some of that stuff? There's a channel I was watching for a while where all it was people telling their near-death experiences or their like afterlife experiences. But I started to notice something every time one of these people told these stories, right? They always had a book to sell about their experience, and that grossed me out. That was just like, oh, buy your book about what your afterlife experience was? No, thank you. You've already told me about it. Why do I need to buy a monetary, tangible form of it so I can put more cash in your pocket? Is that all this channel is? You know, if going to the afterlife truly taught the world is not about materialism, guys, I've been there. Also, buy my book. Like, what? I don't know. And like, look, I'm not knocking anybody's afterlife experience. I'm not knocking near-death experience. I honestly believe some of those people have actually seen stuff and perhaps have even traveled to a plane that is spiritual. But at the same time, when I see that turned into a form of capitalism or materialism, it disgusts me. There's a movie where a doctor proves there's an afterlife. Yeah, it's what's it called? 7 grams or something like that, right? Um, the world starts suffering mass sewer slide. I don't know if typing that will flag. Yeah, don't worry. I have to do the same thing, so I totally get it definitely. Bro, biblical carcinization is gonna happen. Is carcinization where everybody gets cancer? Let's see. All right, sorry. I went down way too far. Okay. I like the idea of pantheism. Everything is interconnected. I also did Zazen Zen meditation. I think there's a lot to meditation. I think there's a lot to meditation that we ignore. I think there's a lot of modern contemporary life that sadly, profoundly destroys the beauty, concept, and practice of meditation. In fact, I'd say there's direct opposites to meditation. TikTok or doom scrolling or watching too many YouTube shorts is like the complete opposite of meditation. And I do it myself. I watch all that stuff, but I also feel like in long term it can be destructive to the human mind and soul. Um, and meditation, if we practice that in balance with doing stuff like that, can bring us a lot more positivity in our life. Pantheism or secular Buddhists or whatever, because ultimately I'm just me. I believe in the natural world, and it's ridiculous to go around trying to be a Buddhist or whatever if I don't buy literally all of it, and I don't. Totally agree about religion. To think a God's logic would be so similar to ours is narcissistic. Yes, thank you, Thrustavius, and also welcome to the stream. Yeah, like I said, the biggest sin man ever did was to first be created by God and then try to recreate God as man. That I feel like that should be the first true venial or mortal sin. To assume God has any sort of human thoughts or human existence is a complete insult. There was a show on Netflix called Penny Dreadful, and the heroes got attacked by a vampire creature. The one dude asked the African dude, "What do you believe in?" The African dude was like, "I believe in everything." The discovery. To have a god's logic put into a book. Yeah, exactly. Salesman, snake oil man. They died and got revived and wrote a book because they got a payback, the med bills somehow. Yeah, Jonah, you got it, man. I think you just nailed it. I practice Nichiren Buddhism and chant in the mornings and evenings to keep myself focused. Yeah, chip tooth. That's what I'm talking about. That's the healing properties of meditation. Whether you're religious or you're not religious, meditation is a real tool to heal the mind. And I will always stand by that. I mean, There is nothing better to heal the mind than meditation. Going to a psychologist, going to a psychiatrist, this is important too. Working on yourself, this is important too. But to find a centering of oneself, to break down and slowly understand the days we go through bit by bit, is to meditate, is to take that time in the morning to meditate, or that time at the end of the day. It really is important. I wish I did it more. I wish I put more time aside each day. Meditation is truly one of the self remedies to make one a better person. And we should all, it should be mandatory that we meditate, honestly. There should be some part of like schooling or community or institution that not just teaches us, helps us, and gives us the time to meditate. I'm not saying we need to be put in jail to meditate, but I'm saying there should be more teaching throughout our life that makes us realize the healing and existential benefit of that. Deco, no thank you, sir. He's scratching stuff. Deco, hey, psst, psst, no thank you. Okay, I'm just telling him not to scratch my wall. That's a good point. Meditation is basically cutting away mental noise. We basically seek out being constantly lulled by the noise of our apps and our social media to stave off boredom or discomfort. Yeah, yeah. And anybody who thinks otherwise has probably never tried meditation or tried and failed because they didn't give it the proper time. Meditation is a huge healing factor. I'm not going to say there's physical benefits because I don't think there's any proof or anything. Maybe there is, but I'd have to have sources and actual studies that show it. But mentally, it has to help. The First Nations helped me when I was going through the toughest time of my life, and their spirituality really helped me rebuild a new and better life for myself. I'm so grateful for their teachings. Yeah. Sun Wolfie, first of all, welcome to the stream. And second of all, I'm very happy to hear that. And I also totally understand why. And look, you don't need to believe in whatever religion or God is connected to the meditation that you do. In fact, people ignore this, but even within Christianity, certain kinds of prayers, certain kinds of moments of silence, vows of silence, of praying in one's head over and over again. For example, even the rosary where you do like 10 Hail Marys and then 1 Our Father and then 10 Hail. This is just another form of meditation, right? And this is still very healing. To get some kind of repetitive thought, repetitive motion, or even silent thought or silent sort of stillness in your physicality is a healing element that many of us as humans ignore, especially in our modern age, because exactly, I forget who just said it, but we're lulled by the constant need for noise and things to get our mind off of life. Many people want to ignore the fact that being born is the opening act to death. We're all headed to the same direction, no matter what we accomplish, who we are, how great we think are, how much knowledge we gather, how many gods we pray to, or whatever. We're all headed to the same place. And we never take time out of our day to think about that. What's the one place, I forget where it is on Earth, where they say the happiest people are in this one area, and every day for 5 minutes, part of their existence is spent meditating on the fact that they will die. And people, I'd say in general, 99% of people are too afraid to do that. Nobody wants to confront that. And that's part of meditation, is realizing our existence is finite and meditating on the fact that we need to make the most of it. Philosophy should be taught in high school. Completely agree. I noticed recently that here in Texas, philosophy wasn't taught until college level. Even at college level, we're not required to take it, right? But I do feel like it's something that needs to be part of the curriculum. I completely agree. Home economics, understanding keeping a budget, understanding philosophy, trying to get some sort of grasp on existence. These are things that definitely should be part of schooling. I started meditating a few years back, and it helped me quit things that were harmful to me. Yeah, Alejandra, I completely understand, and I completely agree, and I completely advocate for the fact that one of the biggest remedies that many people stay away from or avoid is the cure that meditation brings. There's things, and I'm not going to sit here and try to list facts or, bring up a white paper report that shows it. But I can confirm from my own personal experience that meditation brings more wholeness and healing and remedies and cures to things maybe that are ineffable, that we have no description for, that are esoteric to us, that are our own proprietary foulness, brokenness, trauma. And meditation can help with all those things. Helps teach people how to think, introduces new ways of thinking. Closest I've ever come to meditation is hunting, sitting there still in silence for hours on end. Yeah, okay, so Thrustavius, it's meditation. It's not the closest you've ever come. You've meditated. People tend to only think of meditation as sitting Indian style on the floor. Are we not supposed to call it Indian style anymore? Triangle style on the floor, having your hands in the lotus position, humming Om over and over again. But if you look throughout history, there are forms of meditation that no one ever talks about. I forget what Inuit or Eskimo tribe used to have a form of meditation where they would take their knife or spear or whatever sharp object they had and find a piece of ice and carve the same symbol in it over and over and over again until all they could focus on was that one symbol that they kept carving. And that was their meditation. There's many different forms, many different ways to exercise it. It's us, I think, that need to find that form or that exercise that best fits our disposition. And that's hard because we're never given a lesson on it in life. No instructor, no institute, no form of education comes along unless you seek it out that teaches us meditation's real, it helps, it exists, and there's one type for you. I tried a couple different types, but I'm pretty strict about the Soto Zen form because of that rigid posture others criticize. Holding that posture is hard and can literally break out mental noise. Yeah, okay, so yeah, there's different forms and stuff like that. I mean, like I said, we have things we need customized to help us get through things. All of us don't walk in the same set of shoes, you know? All of us enjoy different foods, different temperatures, different environments. Why would it be any different for meditation? Some medications that cure some people are poison to others. Penicillin's a prime example of that. So why would meditation be any different? As humans, we are bountifully different. All right, what else we got here? Bro, what the fuck? I just turned in and we're having the deepest possible conversation. I was not prepared. This is the unrested I know and love. Yeah, it's open to chat all night, man. And these are the kind of conversations I think, and I'm not here to toot my own horn about it, but I think are the most helpful and the most in depth in a way that we, as each other, having this dialogue, we as humans having this dialogue, are setting down the right path as far as how we can become better humans. Like I said, spiritual stuff, religious stuff, all that stuff aside, it's all okay, whatever you believe, whatever path you follow, whatever you think is the true form of whatever God or non-God you follow and believe. But one thing I feel is true for everyone everywhere is that meditation can be a remedy for a lot of life's ailments, especially in these days where people complain about being more lonely than ever, being more disconnected from others than ever. New people who this generation isn't getting married as much, isn't having families as much, isn't existing outside of the little bubble of their house, their room, their environment, their family. They're not leaving as much. I read something today about how we have the least amount of working men from early ages of post college age, post high school age than ever before. There's the largest amount of unemployed men. And when they say unemployed, they don't mean the 3% unemployment in America. They mean the people who are not seeking a job, not out of a job, not able to find a job, but just not even seeking. And I feel like this in general, things like this, people who feel a discomfort with the world around them or are locked in these constant political back and forth debates that make them so angry, are vitriolic online. These people are all lacking meditation as a remedy for all of this. And a lot of the ailments we suffer through, because we all suffer in some way, we're all dealing with something in some way. A lot of this, I'm not going to say it's going to cure it 100%. You'll be healed, brother. I'm saying it will lead us down a path of being able to reconcile slowly but surely, put things into perspective, put our life into perspective, the humanity around us, and how to get closer to being the best human we can possibly be. We'll never be perfect. All right. Perfect is the death of satisfaction. No one should ever worry about that, right? They meditate one dead body. They meditate one dead bodies. Okay, let me get back to reading this. The Aghoris in India, the Aghoris, they meditate on dead bodies. Is that religion that like part of it is like honoring or exalting like things that are gross and disgusting? For meditation, I tried doing some of the meditations that Thich Nhat Hanh talks about in his book. Really did help me think about trying to take care of myself as well as think about what others are experiencing. Let's see. I don't know what the Vietnamese term for it is, but he's Zen, though. I think he's incorporates some. Oh God, I don't know how to pronounce any of these words. I'm not going to try and butcher them. Theravada, Sensei Scott. Do you believe in extraterrestrials? Yeah, 100%. Of course, there's life outside of Earth. Again, another thing to be arrogant about. You know, I understand the idea of the Fermi paradox, where if we haven't seen life yet, who's to say it actually exists outside of Earth? Maybe everything is dead or has died or has not either reached the technological level to reach us, or if they have, they are already extinct. I think that is um, too much of a layman's idea of extraterrestrial. Is if space is truly infinite, that means there's doubles, triples, quadruples, and infinite possibilities of everything that exists now. That also means there's dimensions beyond our own. That also means there must be extraterrestrials who not just exist, but have learned to exist on dimensions, levels, planes that we can't even conceive of at our current state of evolution. And again, that's the arrogance of man, imagining extraterrestrials are just us, but like a little bit more advanced gray men who have just a little bit better technology than us that lets them travel around space and see us. And I haven't seen a UFO land, so I don't believe in it. It's just like an infinite amount of space holds an infinite amount of possibilities. It's not a crazy idea to imagine another living entity far beyond our existence exist within that infinite space. Um, I just think it's comical, though, that we have this very basic idea of aliens. It's almost on a level of what we imagine angels and gods are like, right? Like, we try to give them these human properties. Like, who's to say they even have a human form? Who's to say they're standing on two legs? Who's to say their technology is even material based? Isn't like the highest form of evolution, like us existing as energy and stuff like that? Who's to say there's not a race of aliens that is an energy, right? I think we're very limited in our concept of what is extraterrestrial, right? Yo, alien opinions. The Agahoris believe taboos are illusions, so they transgress them. That involves honoring the dead, famous by making a cup out of their death friends' skull caps. Most death metal Hindus ever. Yeah, that's pretty hardcore, man. You all are having a deep talk, and I'm here making my bed. It's okay, making your bed is a form of meditation. You're already deep into this with us, Tommy. Or Timothy. Sorry, I called you Tommy. They eat their own poop too. Yeah, I heard they like do all kinds of gross, disgusting stuff. I think I watched a Discovery Channel thing on it called Taboo, and like one of them went out of their way to like married a woman who was like horrendously deformed because like that was honoring the religion, which I mean, great. That's awesome. You know, again, whatever gives you purpose, whatever gives you guidance, whatever gives you balance, temperance, whatever you need to guide your life, as long as it's not causing harm to others, I say follow it. I say go for it. To each their own. Has anyone seen an anime Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan? I don't think I've seen that. The animated movie Titan AE had energy-based aliens. See? I was right all along. And what is the one thing? It's like different levels of civilization. It's some kind of Russian name came up with this idea of different levels of civilization. Like the highest level is like an energy born race that like lives off of energy they infinitely produce. And it's just like, if such an alien exists, why would they ever make themselves known to us? Like, why would they waste their time? When you step over an ant hill, do you stop to observe the ants and talk to them about what it's like to be an ant? No, you don't. And we are just ants, possibly, to some massive alien race that has existed for millennia far beyond our understanding, on a level beyond our understanding, and in a way and form that's beyond our understanding. I've only ever had sleep paralysis one time in my life. I saw 3 grays crawl through my window and start inspecting me. Then I passed out. Super weird. That sounds horrifying. I've only had it one time in my life too, and I was stuck in my bed, and at the corner of my bed there was a stool which didn't actually exist in my room. On that stool there was a porcelain doll with a face that was like spider web type cracks all running through it, and it didn't move until it finally like pointed to me and started saying, "Wake up, wake up, wake up." And then like I got so freaked out that I started to like mumble in my sleep, and my girlfriend at the time shook me awake because she said I was like, it looked like I was trying to scream but my mouth wouldn't move right. So would elementals be ETs? Yeah, why not? Who's to say there's not a race of aliens that exist on an elemental level? How would you feel if you found out your husband married you because he wanted to shatter his own beauty standard? You're talking about what I said with the Agahoris and the one, um, you know, it's impossible for us to dictate what her thoughts would be, as her life experience would be ferociously different from our own, not being born horrendously deformed, right? How could we ever compare our life experience, right? Comparison is the death of satisfaction, my friend. She might be very satisfied. So freaky. Carcinization is a form of convergent evolution in which non-crab crustaceans evolve like crab-like body plan to meet if similar evolution traits can be repeated independently. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that deeper, Jonas Slocum. That sounds like far beyond my pay grade. I don't. That sounds profound. I need to look into that. Hot take. I think aliens kind of ruin the mythology of Alien by turning the mysterious xenomorph into space bugs. Yeah, but also think about this. Who's to say there is aliens that exist with a conscience that is human, right? Like, why do we expect that they would have a conscience or empathy or sympathy or even emotions that compare to our emotions? If you look at the xenomorph, you would think this is definitely an emotionalist creature driven completely by survival and strife to, you know, completely recreate the species over and over and over again. Who's to say there isn't like some highly technological level version of the xenomorph in which stepping on us, getting past us, destroying us is nothing more than smashing an anthill? I think it can be possible for human-like traits to be repeated on other planets with similar. Oh, of course, Jonah. Of course, of course, of course. I'm not saying the possibility doesn't exist, especially with things like gravity, temperature. Even down to like how water is created on planets and atmosphere, etc. One of the reasons that we don't have giant-sized humans or even giant dinosaurs or even Godzilla-like creatures is gravity itself would kill them with their own body. And, that's one thing we don't take into account when we write these fantastical kaiju fantasies and stuff like that. But that's because they're fantasies, they're science fiction. We break some rules to create such things, which is fine. But the reason we are usually not growing to 9 foot tall as humans is because it would be brutal on our body as far as gravity and pumping blood to our heart is concerned. Aliens is cool, but after exploring H.R. Geiger's art, it's so much more epic and so far beyond what those movies ever hint at. Oh yeah. Bryce, have you seen that documentary on H.R. Geiger? It was like made just as he died. What an incredible dude. The dude was magnificent, humble, like sharing, caring. Like, of course, he had radical, wild, you know, sex-based and kink-based weird ideas that most of us all keep inside and hide from the world, whereas he just kind of let it go out and be explored via his art. But in general, a genuinely good dude. I don't know if you saw like the stuff he did for like a band that liked him, that thought his art was sick, and like the band sent him albums and stuff like that. And he eventually gave them like free art and like helped promote their band and like even took pictures with the band to help promote them and everything. Like just a good dude, but who was incredibly artistic. Um, have you seen or think you see spirit beings? I have not. At this point in my life, there's nothing I've seen or witnessed that makes me think I've seen spirit-based beings. But again, like I'm one, I'm one POV of the world. I haven't seen the documentary. I'll have to check it out. I love Beksinksi. I think so. Hold on. Let me just check. I think I know who you're talking about. Let me just type in the name and see if the art that I have in my mind right now is exactly who you're talking about. Beksinksi. Yeah. Okay, it's who I thought about. The guy who does like the crazy architecture and stuff like that. Like the millions of bodies smashed together, making buildings and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean his stuff's also incredible. And how he died is so tragic. He was like stabbed to death by like a family member or something. Like, what the hell? And I don't even want to try and pronounce that first name, ZDZ. When the first three letters in your first name is ZDZ, I don't even want to try and mangle or butcher how bad I would if I tried to pronounce that. Uh, oh yeah, you made Jonathan Davis's microphone. That's right. All right. Awesome, man. Well, let's see. It's 9 o'clock right now, guys. I think I'm gonna cut it off here. I'm starting to get pretty tired, and I have a lot to get done tomorrow. But the good news is I'm off again tomorrow. Um, I need to get up early because you know what I need to do? Smash out a bunch of Osoroshi Saturday episodes that I have near finish, but have not gotten the free time to be able to expedite to the upcoming 3 months of episodes that I want to have ready to put out. So, guys, this conversation has been awesome. Like, a really, you know what? It's made me really realize that not only do I have an awesome, loyal, repeated fan base. I hate saying fans, viewer base. Um, but I also have some pretty insightful, enlightened people among me here that are watching the channel, and that is awesome. That makes the dialogues I have with you guys, the conversations just so much more fruitful and, you know, actually productive. It's not just us mindlessly, you know, repeating, I like these things recently in social media. I like these things. It's actually us like delving into existential stuff that I love. I love these kind of conversations. These are like truly the best part of being a human is having these existence of what is it to be human. Um, this is why I always say, like, if you guys ever get a chance to play it, play the game Soma. It's by far my favorite game ever, my favorite story ever, my favorite dive into what is it to be human ever. But tonight definitely taught me a lot. You guys taught me a lot. You guys showed me quite a lot about who you guys are as far as being insightful, deep thinkers, which is great to know. That's what I'm surrounded by when people are viewing my video. Um, yeah, it was cool to talk. Your views on religion are actually the most similar to my own. I've heard someone else articulate. Yeah, you guys too. Like everybody I talked to tonight, we seem to all be revolving around a lot of the same beliefs. And the great thing I love about tonight is even people who had different beliefs. I think we had a Buddhist in here, a Christian in here, and stuff like that. everybody was just open-minded to just listening to everything, right? Like none of us got into arguments about anything. We were just like, oh, okay, I don't fully believe in that aspect, but here's what I actually believe. This is what I love. This is what the world needs more of. Um, you know, I always tell everybody I don't understand why Republicans and Democrats always have to fight. My best friend is a math teacher, and I never shout at him about how much I hate math. Instead, we just have good conversations and acknowledge the fact that we both believe, follow, study, and learn things completely different. And we're okay with that. One of my other best friends is more conservative than I'll ever be. And him and I never argue about anything. Sometimes we talk politics and we listen to each other and like, why do you think that? Okay, cool, cool, cool. I mean, I still think this. And they're like, oh, all right, cool, all right. I want to see more of the world work this way where we do have our own individual thoughts. We are our own individual persons. We have our own individual paths through life that we see and think are best for us. But we never try to push those things, argue about those things. The only time we bring them up is when we want to hear others' outlook on those things. Observe, listen, take it in, and then share respectively. That's what the world needs more of, guys. I missed parts of the stream, but it was interesting to what I did see. It's all real at the end of the day. Yeah, it was a nice conversation. Yeah, guys, awesome conversation. Um, I hope we can have more of these in future streams. I should probably not list it as like Osoroshi Nights for the the template and stuff like that, but we'll look into it. There'll be more of this. And like I said, again, tomorrow, I'll probably jump on it and I'm gonna have to choose. I need to choose something different to have the stream about. I've done games, I've done movies now. Maybe we probably need one more movie because I have 2 movies for the Osoroshi Saturday I'm going to make about Japanese horror movies. So I need one more. So homework for tonight. Everybody look into a Japanese horror movie they want to recommend for a stream coming up in the future. And we'll look into that. All right, guys. When is the next movie stream? Jonah, perfect timing. I'm probably going to have it tomorrow. We watched Psycho the Large Family. The other movie I'm going to be talking about is, you know what? Maybe we should actually watch it tomorrow night. The Inerasable. I'm not sure what I can stream it on. I'm not even sure where it's playing anymore. Let's try to watch that tomorrow night. All right, tomorrow night, The Inerasable. I need to watch it again. I need to watch it again to properly analyze it and talk about it for my future Osoroshi Saturday. I mean, Osoroshi Nights, I got to stop saying Saturday. All right, does it sound good, guys? Maybe we'll make this one tomorrow a little bit later because I'll be well rested and I'll have everything taken care of before I jump on stream. I don't know what time we start at, like 6:30 tonight. I don't know, maybe 7:30. Usually my streams usually do start around 7:30. Let's aim for 7:30, okay, guys? And well, just a heads up, if I don't come on tomorrow night, tomorrow's supposed to be when the hurricane hits. Spectrum, my cable provider, has said there's a possibility cable will go out, in which case I do not have internet. I won't be able to text you to let you know or make a post to let you know. So if for some reason I don't show up tomorrow, don't worry. I'm still alive. I still love you guys. You're awesome. And I didn't come on because the hurricane knocked out our internet. Okay? No. Maki. Hold on. I've almost freaked out my son. He thought internet's about to go down. Spectrum gave us a warning that it could be a possibility we lose internet during the storm. Yeah, but it's not like 100%. All right, guys. Love you all. You guys are awesome. Keep meditation and thinking about life and death in your mind at all times. And do the things that heal you. That's my advice for the end of the stream. Do the things that heal you. All right? Have a good one, guys. I'm going to sign off for